So, welcome. My name is Bill Winkle. I lead the entrepreneurship program here at John Carroll University. So we're very glad to see everybody this morning. Thank you for coming. Thank you to the teachers and the counselors and everybody for doing hard work to get everybody here. So super quick, I'm not going to take up a lot of your time because we got some exciting stuff happening today. But welcome to John Carroll. This program and what you're going to do and the kind of experience you're going to have today is a big part of the kind of things that we do in our entrepreneurship program here at John Carroll. So just a quick plug, if you're interested in college, if you're interested in having fun while you're learning and learning really useful, valuable things that are going to produce good life for you later on, you should come here. So that's my plug for John Carroll. Okay. So today, you're going to have a really unique and a really, really fun experience today. So think about this guy here that's going to come up in a second. Things that I would say probably 98, close to 100% of you have eaten or used, at some point in your life. He's invented some of them, right? So these things come out of his brain, and so you're going to learn a lot of the process and a lot of the things that have helped him, and that he has helped others to work with ideas, work with creativity, and create things that other people don't. Okay, so that's going to be what's going to go on today. So thank you for coming. Thank you to the teachers for getting here. Thank you to the Field Entrepreneurship Forum for supporting this and providing the opportunity for this experience today. And without further ado, I will introduce you to Dr. Stamp and let him take it away.
All right. Thanks, Doan. Good morning, Ohio. Oh, come on. I used to live in Cincinnati. I lived in Cincinnati for 16 years. I know you can do better than that. Good morning, Ohio. Okay, I know. You're sitting behind, like my students do the same thing. So you're sitting behind the mask. So I'll say good morning, and instead of talking, then just I'll wave. Just like a big Ohio wave. Hey, Ohio! Okay, people's arms move. That's good. How many left-handed people in the room? Because all us lefties. There we go. 25% smarter already out of the box. Good for you. Thanks, lefties. We rock, don't we? And the righties are go, you suck. Okay, I got it. Got it. Good morning. I am Dr. Jeff Stamp. I teach at the University of Minnesota. Yep, my accent is real. I live in Minneapolis now. And I'm a good friend of Doan's. I'm a big supporter of what they do here at John Carroll University. I've been doing this program now for about 8 years. We're going to have a blast today. We're going to spend a lot of time doing some fun things. And I also want to thank the Veal Youth Entrepreneurship Forum. I really want to thank their support of doing this because, again, without the support of foundations like this, we don't get to all get together and hang out and have a good time. You guys are ready to rock and roll, have some fun? So here's my first question. Who here is creative? Who in the room is creative? All right, I love it. First hand up. What's one of the latest things you've purchased recently? Something you bought, like last couple of weeks that like tripped you out, like something different that you bought that was different than what you normally buy. What was one of those things?
A stylus for my phone. I like to draw on my phone.
A stylus for your phone. How do you suppose that got there? Did you buy the Apple stylus or was it a Google stylus? Which brand?
It wasn't a particular brand. It was just something that I found on Amazon.
Okay, so you found it on Amazon. You did the magic, right? You did the one-click ordering. And then like 2 days later, it just like magically shows up and you're like, awesome. And you're like playing with this on your phone. Did you stop for a moment and go, where'd this come from? How did it get here? Who did this, right? Here's the crazy thing. Like, I was noticing people had bananas right over here. Hold up the banana right there so everybody knows what the heck we're talking about, right? That's a banana. How far did that banana have to journey to get to that table? And how many days do you suppose that has been since that banana has been picked? Well, it's been about 2 weeks. And that banana probably traveled over 4,000 miles to get to right there, to be there right this moment so he could hold it up in front of everybody. You see, the thing that's amazing to me as I'm a professional creative. My job is to create new ideas that return into products. I'll show you some of my products here in just a few minutes. Most of you have eaten them. But the crazy part about being a scientist is when you're learning science, how many people love science? How many people love science that are left-handed? Okay, like 2. Okay, you're going to be, everybody send your resumes to them because you'll be working for them someday. Does that sound good? Yeah, she's like, all right. But the cool part about being a scientist is our job is to do like what? Study science, right? You study the periodic table, you learn how to carry the 1 in math. It seems all really cool till somebody says, what should we do? What should we make? And everything that you eat, use, wear, or just have around in your life, someone invented. If you all play video games, which everybody does, Google sometime the history and the history of the video game console. You should see where these things came from and how many different versions of the GameStone console have happened over time to get the one that you have. And so we sit around and people bring us all kinds of interesting things to work on. And how many of you thought this morning when you woke up that you would invent something today that's never been thought of before? Well, today you're not only going to do it once, you're going to do it twice. You're going to create 2 things today that have never existed before, ever. You think you can do it? People are like, what the heck? That's a lot of pressure. Don't give me that much pressure. You can do it. You can do it. So let's test your aha ability right this minute. I'm going to show you a couple of products from some friends of mine that create these things. I didn't do these first 2 products, but I think they're pretty awesome. They're brand new. Now, every year I get a chance to go to Las Vegas to the Consumer Electronics Show. Now, the Consumer Electronics Show is this cool place where inventors, it's like a geekathon. We all just show up with our new stuff and we show it to people and see if anybody likes it, okay? So this first idea is pretty awesome. How many people brush their hair on a regular basis? How many people brush their hair left-handed? Okay, I guess we're on a theme here. You got plenty of hair. I love it. So that's great. You actually brush that. Okay, I love it. It's got that natural brushed look. I love that. Okay, I love that 70s retro stuff. All my high school friends look just like that. Okay, it's great. Peter Frampton kind of look. I dig it. It's awesome. Okay, but here's the thing. Now, you tell me if you like this idea. So, why do you brush your hair? What's the point? I know you're all like, parents would probably say, hey, before you go to school, you could at least brush your hair. How many times have you heard that, right? Before you go to school, I mean, I know you're asleep and all, but at least brush your hair. Anybody ever thought about it? Why? You all do it, but why? So this is my favorite part about being an inventor. I ask these questions and people look at me like, I've never heard of such a thing. Like, you do it every day, but I've never thought about it. Most of us walk through our lives every day just doing stuff. And to be a good creative, you've got to ask questions. You've got to ask lots of questions. So why do you suppose we brush our hair? Yeah?
So our hair doesn't get tangled?
That's one reason, but that's not the main reason you brush your hair. Yes?
Just to look presentable?
To look presentable to the outside world. That's a very internalized view. But that's not yet the reason why you brush your hair. Yes? Yes, 50 free points for you. I give away lots of points, but they don't mean anything, but you've got 50. How many points does everybody else have? 0. So who's leading right now in the points race? Right, 50 points. What you brush your hair for is to stimulate the oil glands in your hair so that you produce a compound called sebum, and sebum makes your hair manageable. Now, if you don't wash your hair over time, have you heard about the big Ashton Kutcher dilemma right now? Have you heard about what's really, you know who Ashton Kutcher is, right? He's in a lot of trouble right now. Did you hear what he said? Anybody know? Got to follow this dude on Twitter. He's hilarious. He came out and said, I'm only going to wash my hair once a week. And the world went nuts. Because when are you told you should wash your hair? Every day? Twice a day if you're an athlete, right? If you're out, working out, you wash your hair. You should only really wash your hair once every week or every 2 weeks. And most of your parents would be appalled if you heard, hey, I went to this thing today and a scientist said I should wash my hair once a week. They'd be like, where do I get my money back for this tuition, right? Because we have this normal behavior that we all do. But you should actually brush your hair because it stimulates your hair to grow better, look shinier, be more manageable, stay untangled, look presentable to the world. But at the end of the day, brushing your hair is actually a skill. You have to do it right. So anybody recognize, well, here's the biggest thing we're going to talk about. Where do ideas come from, and how do entrepreneurs look at innovation? That's going to be our big challenge today. So it always starts with a problem. Anybody recognize this brand? What is this brand? What do they make? Makeup, beauty supplies, and shampoo and conditioners. Now, what do they really want you to do? Is this a cheap brand or an expensive brand? It's super expensive, okay? It's not like Suave. Suave is over here. And this is like super, super expensive. So if you're a super, super expensive brand and you want people to use your products, you got to give them a reason to use your products, because I could just buy Suave. If all shampoo is the same, I just buy Suave. But if I have really expensive shampoo, I've got to teach you how to do it. So here's what they did. They made a smart brush. Now, when I say smart brush, what do you think that means? It's a smart brush connected to the internet. It's called the Hair Coach. I kid you not, they've actually launched this. Now here's how it works. And they actually won an award in Las Vegas at the Consumer Electronics Show for a new innovation. This is seen as a huge innovation. It has a microphone in the brush that listens to the sound of you brushing your hair, and it can identify patterns. It has an accelerometer. Any engineering geek friends of mine know what an accelerometer, what that might be? What do you think an accelerometer does?
It controls like the rate of how fast.
Yeah, so it actually measures. It wouldn't actually control your arm, so it makes it go slower. That'd be pretty awesome if you held a brush and it made your arm go slower. That'd be pretty twisted. But this actually tells you how fast it goes. And it can count the brush strokes. It has an app. So you download the app, you connect it to your brush, you brush your hair, and then it gives you a score of whether or not you're brushing your hair good or bad. How many of you would love to try this product and think it's a good idea? Now notice, not a hand. How about teachers in the back? Maybe our little more experienced group. I will tell you, you got a lot of hair to work with back there, right? A lot of improvement to be done there, right? The thing that's fun about this is that at the show, they had a booth, I kid you not, and people were lined up like 30, 40 people, and they would pick up this app, they would brush their hair, look at the app and go, oh, that's cool. Put the brush down, and the next person literally would come up and start brushing their hair. Pretty disgusting. Yeah, pretty disgusting. But the thing is that there are people who actually like this idea because they didn't realize they weren't brushing their hair right. And for people who really want their hair to look really super shiny, see, this only has a 65%. It says your hair is fragile. It gives you all kinds of estimates of hair damage and breakage and dryness and tangling because this brush can read the quality of your hair. Still no takers? What do you suppose this brush costs? What do you think? $200. $149. Pretty good. Pretty close. So $149 for a brush that tells you if you're doing it right or wrong. Is that an innovation? Is that an improvement? Technical term? No, right? Okay. Here's another idea. How many of you have ever been around this character before? The person who's on their cell phone out in public, like at the mall or something, and just talks really super loud, and he's like, yeah, buy, sell, or I'm the greatest, or this is the person on my fantasy football team, right? You can hear everything they're talking about. And you just wish they'd just shut up, right? How many of you ever run across a person like that out in the public? Well, it seems like that's see, now notice, it starts with a problem. We've all seen this individual. So this company goes, you know what? There's a better way. You don't have to actually listen to this person anymore because we're going to invent the Hush Me voice mask. Now, the Hush Me voice mask is pretty cool. You actually put this on your face. You look like Bane from the movie, but you actually talk into it. It has noise-canceling technology so that people can hear you talk on your phone perfectly. It has an earphone so you can hear what they're saying, and now no one can hear you talking. Who thinks this is a great idea? Again, I get no takers. I'm 0 for 2. This sucks. But do you see the real problem here? I gave you a picture of a person standing on a bus or in a subway or out in public. But let's think more entrepreneurially. Where could this actually solve a problem? Where is it where you could be talking on the phone where you need to talk on the phone, but you don't want other people to hear you? Yes?
Like an office or like a business place.
And an office, a library, a business place, customer service. Ever called like a 1-800 number to talk to somebody on customer service and you hear 42 people in the background and it's annoying as heck? Well, what this is for someone who's actually sitting at work, you don't have to wear it all the time. You just wear it when you want to have some privacy so no one can hear you talk. Now, how many people think this could be the right idea for somebody, maybe not you, but could you see it for somebody else that could use this? Raise your hand if you think that'd be possible. Notice how just literally in 10 seconds, by asking better questions, we reveal what we call an opportunity. You see, often in our own head, we have this little 0 to 10 scale. When I show you an idea, you go really, really dumb to really, really cool. For the hairbrush, it was really what? On a 0 to 10 scale, what would you give it? Like a 2? Kind of weak. Maybe there's that one person who's kind of like insecure about their hair and just wants to brush it all the time, right? But the thing is, when you see the Hush Me mask, at first you went, I couldn't use it, so it's a 10. The first key to being a good inventor is to not think about your use of it. Because if I invented this and I really liked it, I can't buy all of my own product and call that a sales increase. That doesn't count. I have to make something that everybody else wants to buy, because then it makes it valuable and it changes the way people do things. I don't see everybody walking out. This was invented the year before COVID. I could now see where in today's world, our world has changed a little bit, is it not? Right? I could see maybe where this is a little bit more practical, but they're not covering their nose, so it really isn't a mask for that reason. But at least wearing a mask is no longer socially weird. When I first started to show this back in 2019, people thought this was like the weirdest thing ever, because who would ever wear something on their face all the time? Now look what's happened after 2 short years, right? How many of you have been like on an airplane or gone through the airport now and you have to wear a mask? Is that really kind of different now, sitting on an airplane the whole time wearing a mask? Isn't the first thing you do, you sit down, you figure, oh, I'm going to relax. You just kind of like, oh my gosh, I got to still keep my mask on. It's really hard for all of us to learn what? New behaviors. Isn't that the crazy part about new ideas? New ideas are disruptive. They make you change a behavior. And you have to ask yourself, do I want to do what I'm doing, or do I want to switch? So when you're an inventor, the biggest thing that you have to worry about isn't the other people doing it. It's the fact that people won't get up off the couch to even try something. It's this inertia of, I'm fine. And one of the things you learn as an inventor is that the first thing you have to remember is that people will do what they're doing until you give them a better reason to change. For somebody who sits in an office, your point is really good. You know, you're sitting with a bunch of people, you got to take a call, don't want to bother everybody, or they're trying to study. Maybe this is a great idea. So let's test your aha ability. It's one of my favorite invented words, aha ability. Have an aha moment where you go, I could see where that really works. So what do you see here? Who likes potato chips? Right? We all like potato chips. Everybody here, I picked this because, you know, pretty much everybody's eating potato chips, right? What do you see here? What kind of opportunity do you see? Yeah. Flavors. I like that. I could go for some better flavors, okay? But here's a question I want to start it with. What does Frito-Lay do? They make chips. But is Frito-Lay a product company or a service company? Now let's ask the teachers first. This is a great learning moment together. Would you say Frito-Lay, raise your hand, do you think it's a product company? Or do you think it's a service company? I got 4 teachers that say product, 1 that says service. Okay, students, how many people think Frito-Lay is a product company? Or is it a service company? Okay, here's the fascinating part about it. All companies, it's a trick question, all companies are service companies. They just happen to sell you a product that you consume. Now you could say, yeah, but Stamp, how many of you are starting to learn to drive? Right? And you had to get insurance to drive, right? Is an insurance company a product company or a service company? It's a service company. All companies are service companies. What product does it sell you? Insurance is an ideal, but what do you buy? What's the product you buy with an insurance, from an insurance company, from Progressive? Teachers, what would you think is the product that an insurance company sells you? You've been buying it a long time. Do you know? You've been buying it, but do you recognize it? Yes? No, that's just a concept. Auto insurance is a concept. It's an idea. What's the product you buy? Nope, that's a concept. Yes?
Like tires, if your tire pops and stuff like that.
No, that's not what insurance will replace. That's the action of the product. Yes, what's the product?
Like the plan you got?
A policy. You get 100 free points for that. You're now in the lead. 100 points right over here. You actually buy a policy. It's a piece of paper that tells you all the things that happen if you break a tire and you get one replaced, or roadside service, right? We don't recognize that how you, for example, ever been to the dentist? Raise your hand if you've been to the dentist, right? Is a dentist a service company or a product company? A service company. What's the product they sell you? Yes? Okay, that's one product, but what's their minimum transaction? An appointment. You buy a piece of their time. You buy 60 minutes and they give you a new filling, a new crown, or new braces, right? Every company is a service company. So how is Frito-Lay a service company? Well, you buy a bag of chips. Everyone thinks it's a product company, but it's a service company because your alternative is make your own chips. Go home, get a potato, slice it up, fry it yourself, or you could come to Frito-Lay who will do the service for you. They'll grow the potatoes, they'll harvest the potatoes, they'll slice the potatoes, they'll fry them up just fine so that you can have potato chips. All you gotta do is go to the store, which by the way, a grocery store is a service. We have a big building full of stuff on shelves. Come on in, buy our products. So what you have to think of when you're being creative is, what's the service? What's the action? What am I doing? What are you doing when you're snacking? Because here's a great question. Why do you snack? I'll bet you've never thought of it. It's not a slam. It's about how to figure out if we're going to create something new for Frito-Lay that isn't a new flavor, what would be a new snack? And the first question you have to ask is, why do I snack? Why do you snack? What's the point? Guys will always say that. They'll go, I was hungry. Is that enough? Ladies, why do you snack? You snack differently. I know this because I've got thousands of hours of watching people snack. You'll find out why in a moment. Why do you snack? Yes, it is a process by which you reward the day you're going through. You're a perfect consumer for this kind of behavior. Guys go, but I'm just still hungry, Stamp. I'm like, okay, dude, go for it. But remember, different customers will have different behaviors, so they ask for different things. So anybody here taking an economics class yet in high school? You're taking economics? Well, in my world as an inventor, all economics is a process of how people make choices. If you think about it, if you're stressed in a day, have her turn this, there we go. If you're stressed in a day, what are some of the choices you have to ameliorate or to help the stress if you were going to have a snack? What would you choose? So I could say, you can have anything. Come to my store and you can have anything you're having a rough day. What would you choose? What's your favorite thing that makes you feel happy? Pretzels. I used to like Twinkies when I was in high school. I loved Twinkies. I ran track and cross country. I needed the energy, right? Hungry. But if I was having a stress day, I would have a Twinkie. What's some of your favorite things you love to have as a treat when you're just like, dude, I just need something fun to have? What do you like? Chips. Okay, that was easy because you just saw chips, right, out of your memory. What else? What do you have? Chocolate chip cookies. What else? Rice, that rocks, right? Now here's the problem. Do you have to make them yourself or do you have to go buy them at the convenience store because Kellogg's already made them for you? Remember, they provide a service. They make the treats. You go, I'm having a sucky day. Here's my $2. I'm in the good, right? For $2, someone else can do the service for you. Makes the world a whole lot easier. Okay. One of my sponsors, I have a shirt sponsor whenever I go do speeches. These are guys, this guy here was one of my students. His name is Chris Riccobono. He created a shirt brand called the Untuck It shirt. And how did he make the Untuck It shirt? He says, we started Untuck It because we couldn't find shirts that looked good untucked. The tough style, it's a tough style to get right. So they created the perfect untucked shirt that's just the right length, shape, and size so that you don't have to look like ridiculous. Ever wear a shirt that's untucked and like the bottom of the shirt comes down to here and you're like, man, your mom's going, like, tuck your shirt in. You're like, man, I don't want to wear a shirt tucked in. That's why comes this argument, tucked in, not tucked in. Ever had that argument with your parents? Right? What do? You're like, well, Mom, there's a shirt that's actually made, here's the brand, there's a shirt that's actually made to be worn that way. I can't tuck it in. It'd be against the rules. See, that's a service, but what do they sell? They sell a shirt. Now notice, all the other shirt companies are like, that's dumb. Like 0 to 10, that's dumb. Why? I could just cut my shirt shorter, but yet they don't. Because why are shirts long in the first place? To stay tucked in. Notice this seems like this is not like rocket science. But these guys sell many millions of dollars worth of shirts because they had the courage to go, you know what, we're not playing by that old rule anymore. Remember, people will do what they're doing until you give them a better reason to do what? Something else. That's a service that you provide that helps them get there. All right. So what do entrepreneurs do? This is what we do. It's a process of creating value. We have to invent it by bringing together a unique combination of resources. So being an inventor is a resource game. You just got to take shirts and fabric and do it different. How many of you would love to be like a clothing designer someday? It's a pretty sweet gig, actually. I've worked with a lot of clothing designers. They do some really cool stuff. Because if you like fashion, right? Obviously you like different materials. And why do you like different stuff that's different than what other people wear? Why do you like to show different fashion sense? Express yourself. And why is that important? It finds your place in the world, doesn't it? It defines that place. I want everybody to have that sense of, why am I here? What am I doing? We have to ask these questions. What am I going to do someday? I find that when I invent something and I watch people buy it in the store, I sit back and I go, that's pretty cool. I made this and someone bought it, someone's using it, and you go, that's sweet. I now have a reason to get up every day, okay? Again, I ask you, what do you see? You see Frito-Lay snack products. But what's common with all these products that are sitting here? What's one thing you can count on? They're fried. Yes? They all have the Frito-Lay logo on it because a big company like Frito-Lay goes, hey, we're doing this service for you. We're cutting up stuff like we have corn, we have wheat, we have potatoes, we have all that cool. Who likes Funyuns? Anybody know what Funyuns are made out of? Corn. They taste like onions. They look like onion rings, but it's actually made out of corn. Now you're thinking to yourself, there's got to be a reason why Stam's talking a lot about snack products. Yeah, there's a reason. Because all these products are fried. What do we know about fried foods? Are they 0 to 10 scale? Really, really good for you or really, really not so good for you? The answer is it depends. How many footballers in this room? How many footballer players? Do you guys eat a few calories during the season? Yeah, eat all the chips you want, right? As long as you're out there beating your head against somebody else, you might as well be having some chips, have some fun, right? Because you need the fat for energy, right? So the big key thing is, in a balanced diet, these are good for you, but you know, there's just certain times in your life when maybe you want a healthier choice. So I said, why make a fried product when we can have this one? I'm the inventor of the baked Lay's potato chips. Anybody ever eaten this product? Raise your hand if you've eaten my product. Look at that. I love it. I love y'all. Gives me a lot of freedom to come do these kind of things. I appreciate it. Now you could say, that's not rocket science, Stamp. You just took some potatoes and you dried it. It actually is rocket science. Because how do you suppose you bake a potato chip? Let's talk about how big this idea has to be in order for it to work. Because it is a big service to do it. Because you got to go, if you don't want to buy my baked chips, you got to go do this yourself. And I guarantee you, if you take a potato and slice it really thin and go bake it in your oven at home at 420 degrees for like 15 minutes, you're going to make something that's going to you can actually replace your shoes soles with. It makes it very hard. So we had to redo the science of how do you bake, not fry. And it was a big project. It was a huge project. But what an opportunity actually is, it's a chance to meet a market need. If the market is all full of fried stuff, and that's maybe not seen as healthy enough, and if I say I want to make a better for you potato chip, then I've got to do something to put a new set of resources together in order to do that. Regular potato chips are made of potatoes that are sliced and fried. I can't slice a potato and bake it. It doesn't work. That's why it was never happened before. So I had to take the starch out of the potato, make it into a dough, cut the dough out into pieces, and then flash dry it really, really fast to make it crispy, just like a fried product. Now the oven that we use to make these things is 300 feet long. And to get all that hot air to be able to, I didn't stand at the end of the oven and just talking it. I know that's a funny joke. But in order to get all that hot air, we actually took 2 jet engines from an airplane, a 747. We bolted them to the ground, lit those babies up, and it generates enough hot air to put into our oven to dry our chips. So it really is rocket science. We have rocket engines in our Baked Lay's plant. I kid you not. But the key part about it is, it says here, 65% less fat. That in itself was an innovation, because if I have a snack product that's now 40% fat, and a serving size of potato chips is 1 ounce, 28 grams. If I've got 10 grams of fat in there, how much less fat do I have to make it healthy? Should it be a little bit less? Half as much? No fat? Well, it turns out if you have no fat, you can't make a chip. It doesn't work. Then you go between 10 grams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You just kind of line them up and say, what is the least amount of fat that I can have that makes that thing really, really good? Now, who likes the product really, really a lot? Give me somebody who really likes the Baked Lay. What's your favorite flavor?
Sour cream and cheddar.
Sour cream and cheddar. What's your favorite flavor? The barbecue, the KC Masterpiece. It took me 2 years to figure out how to make a baked Barbecue sauce. Because to think about it, you take the fat out of barbecue, and what do you have left? Smoke. So you can't smoke the chips, you got to actually put the flavor on them. Now, it's interesting to watch when people eat a brand new snack product. Guys, like I said, you're just hungry, so you just open up the bag and just start shoving your face into the chips. Women, on the other hand, do something really unique. When you see a new chip, right, you take one out of the bag and you look at it, both sides, and you judge it. Why are you judging it? What are you looking for? Which side has the most seasoning on it, right? Because what are you going to do with that? Put the seasoning side where? On your tongue, and you're going to bite half of it. Why do you only bite half of it, ladies? To make, look, she does that look, like, make sure we like it, you idiot. Like, like how hard is that to figure out, right? I didn't know this. I'm a guy, right? I'm making chips. I figure people are hungry and want baked. And she's like, no, you got to judge that chip first and then try it. And then she'll eat the other half. Now, the second chip, if it passes the criteria, then the second chip, you'll put that one in your mouth, but you're still judging that one too. It takes two. And then if it passes both of those, then what do? Just like everybody else. You see, you have to understand the behavior of the customer to understand what are they looking for. And especially if you've had a bad day, it better have great flavor. What's your favorite flavor?
Barbecue.
Barbecue. Oh, thank you so much. It's a rockin' flavor. But the key thing is, our job is to solve a problem. What we need is input or ideas to how to solve that problem. So here's kind of an inventor's equation. In order to create value, it's very important to remember this. It's always benefit divided by the cost. A bag of baked Lays is $2.39. Not a lot of cost. A bag of fried chips is about $4 by comparison. Okay, so, it's $2 by comparison. So the baked ones are more expensive than the fried ones. So here's the crazy problem. How much more expensive are you willing to pay for something that's better? Like regular car versus a Tesla, which one's more expensive? Tesla. But what's really cool about a Tesla? What's that? It's electric. I love to hear that that's what you're thinking, but ask anybody who owns a Tesla. The cool part about a Tesla is it goes freaky fast. Okay? It may be electric, but I could already buy an electric car. It's called a Prius. And they go to 0 to 60 in what? 2 days? Who wants a car that goes 0 to 60 in 2 days? Okay? The cool thing about my Tesla has what's called ludicrous mode in it. Anybody ever heard what the Tesla's ludicrous mode is? There's a button you push on it where it is like literally a golf cart on steroids. It is so freaky fast that you sit in the back seat, and we have had people pass out in the back seat because it goes so fast with no sound, you don't really realize it, and your brain just sort of shuts down, and people just kind of just nod right out. You can literally nod somebody out in the back of a Tesla. Google it. It's a true thing. Why does Tesla do that? Well, what is Elon Musk's job? What does he do? What is his goal and vision, Elon Musk, with Tesla? It wasn't to make an electric car. It's just what he makes and sells. What's his goal?
I think it's to replace an industry.
He did that. He was very disruptive, right? Gas engines versus electric engines. Now, global warming, real thing. Electric engines, real thing. Alternative energy, real thing. But Elon Musk goes, yeah, but that's not my big dream. What's Elon Musk's big dream? You must know this. That's what he's up to. Yes? He wants to live on Mars. He isn't going to drive a Tesla there. He sent one out in space. But his whole thing was, if I can't figure out how to make a Tesla, I can't figure out how to make a rocket that goes to Mars. It's only a stepping stone for another series of inventions. And Elon's a brilliant guy. It's really fun to sit with him because he literally goes, I wonder. And when he says, I wonder, you just kind of be quiet because he's like, what's the next thing we got to do? Because the Tesla only works because of the batteries. They've made electric cars. As a matter of fact, some of the first cars ever made were electric. Then they realized they didn't have the, when Edison and Tesla and all those guys were first starting to invent electricity, the first cars, go back and look in history, were electric cars, but the batteries didn't work. So they went to steam cars, then they went to gasoline cars. Most people have forgotten that. Now all of a sudden, full circle, 100 and some years later, we were back to electric cars like it's some sort of magic. In the inventing world, that's not magic, it's just called better resources. Like I said, all entrepreneurship is a resource game. So benefit divided by cost. In other words, in your world, what do I get divided by what do I give up? What do I get? I get a bag of chips, $2.39. Or I could make them myself. How long would it take you to make Rice Krispie treats?
An hour or two after you get all the
Yeah, you got to buy all the ingredients, and you got to go home. Then you got to whip it all up. Anybody ever made Rice Krispie treats at home? Is it easy? Who says it's easy? You're lying, okay? It's not. What's the hard step? She goes, there is no hard step. I just melt them. I just melt them and put them in. It's hard to take the sticky stuff and put it in the cake pan, but it takes about an hour. But you're standing at the C-store right now, and you for $1.50 could go, I could have it right now, right? So what do I get? Speed, yummy Rice Krispie treats made right, and they're soft and chewy, and they're gonna make my brain light up, or I have to just give up $1.50. If they were $10, what would you do? Yeah, I'd probably go home and make them myself. You see, that's the interesting part about what ideas do for you. So here's a fun question. When you think about baked Lays, what do you suppose Frito-Lay said to me when I was a director of new products, and I said, I want to make a baked chip? What do you suppose they said to me? Yeah. No. They said, hell no. Okay, they said, hell no. Why would you suppose they said that? It's a technical term. In inventing, the word hell no is a technical term. That means no way in blank are we ever going to do this. Why? Well, the job of a company is to be efficient and to keep growing. And what do we make? Fried stuff. Do we know how to make anything baked yet? At the time, we didn't know how to make it. As a matter of fact, I had to borrow $57 million to build the first factory, and we'd never made any of it. We could make about 50 pounds a day. Because you're asking me, how many do you have to make a business? A lot. Let me show you, but here's the first thing. When I went to Frito-Lay and I said, I want to make a baked chip, the first question that said to me, is this a substitute good or a complementary good? And I went, what the heck are you talking about? Because what was Frito-Lay's biggest concern? You said to me, well, they don't want you to do it. What do you suppose is their biggest concern?
They don't want your baked chips to replace the industry.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want to replace the industry because everything is fried. And by the way, if I make a better for you chip, what have we just said about their fried stuff? It's bad. And I'm like, no, it's an alternative. I thought it was a complementary good. Because I had to come up with one idea that makes them show them that it's not going to be a substitute. When do you eat chips? With what? With a sandwich. So my idea was put the baked Lays in Subway stores where you have all the sandwiches, and then therefore it's not like when you have a barbecue and you're having a picnic, you have regular chips, right? You always have chips when you eat something else. I just had to show that people would eat it with a healthy sandwich, and therefore they didn't have to worry about it. It's not a substitute product. There are people who love fried products. How many people here absolutely hate baked Lays and only eat fried products, fried snack products? It's okay. It's perfectly fine. I love you just as much. You're just not my customer. It's all good. Because guess what? Customers have what? Choice. They get to do what they want. Well, here's something fun about it. Here's the comparison of the two products. 6 ounces is $3.29. 8 ounces here is $3.59. So this is actually cheaper per ounce, 45 cents versus 55 cents. Difference in calories, blah, 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 blah. The whole thing is they went, okay, smarty boy, let's go make it. But here's the thing. First year at Frito-Lay, if you're going to launch a product, the very first year you have to sell a minimum. What do you suppose that is? $1 million?
$5 million.
5 million. I love the answer. But first, let's ask the question, what does Frito-Lay sell? Frito-Lay sells $11 billion worth of snacks every year. And every brand you know is a billion-dollar brand. Cheetos. Who likes Cheetos? Billion-dollar brand. Regular Lay's potato chips. Billion-dollar brand. Sun Chips. Who's my Sun Chips fans? Billion-dollar brand. Fritos. Anybody like Fritos? Billion-dollar brand. Doritos. Oh my God, Doritos are awesome. By the way, a Dorito right off the oven at the end of the frying when it's hot with that nacho cheese on it. Oh my gosh, better than Rice Krispie treats. But Doritos, billion-dollar brand. So guess what? They said, well, you know, $1 billion, that's a lot. So we'll give you 10% of that. $100 million first year was my requirement. And I went, okay. And then I went back to my office. $2.39 a bag, $100 million. How many bags is that? Holy, how many? No. 100 million divided by $2.39 is 30,395,136. That number is emblazed in my brain. We got to make 30 million bags in a year. We could make like 10 in an afternoon by hand. We needed to learn how to surface that baby up in a hurry. So how do you do that? Well, okay, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. We had to make 3,469 of those an hour, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, just to make the minimum. I literally passed out in my office. That's 1,200 pounds an hour. I could make 50 in a day. So I could make a half a pound an hour. I had to go from half a pound an hour to 1,200 pounds an hour. How do you do that? You don't go on bakedpotatomachinesorus.com and just order the machines. We had to invent the machines. Then we had to invent how to actually roll it out and make the cutters. And if you take a bag of baked Lays, there's 102 chips in every bag. There are 4 different shapes because I made them all. But the crazy part about it is to make that at an individual level, that's 3 billion chips in 1 year we had to make. Turns out the first year we sold 230 million. We made the mark, and today Baked Lays is now a $1 billion brand. Not because of me, but because of the team, all the engineers and all the scientists who made the service possible so that you could buy the product. Now, the other question is, talk about disruption. What do I make this out of? Potatoes. What do you suppose Frito-Lay already buys? Potatoes. $1 billion worth of potatoes for regular Lays. What was their big concern now? Now that we're out there, we're selling it, we're doing great. Now what's the problem? I'm going to be buying all the potatoes, aren't I? Where do you suppose all the potatoes come from? Iowa? Idaho? Turns out I buy them from 13 different states. We start in March in Florida, then we go up here and we go across the country because we use 1 million pounds of fresh potatoes every day to make 1 day's supply of Baked Lays. My favorite part about Baked Lays is all the farmers now that have a job. I grew up on a farm in Minnesota, and I get really, really, really psyched about the fact that we put thousands of farmers in business because I had a simple idea, baked versus fried. And everybody said, you can't do it, it's impossible. You see, all you have to do is to say, if I see an opportunity to solve a problem by doing resources in a different way, then I can do something very, very different. So how would you like to create something new today? Would you like to do it too? I've actually had students in my class. I teach these methods in my class. I've now had over 20 students that have made over $1 million from ideas that they've been credited right in my classroom. Had no idea they could do it. But you can do it. Everybody can be an inventor. And today you're going to create ideas. And I'm going to show you with one of the exercises you're going to do later on this morning. And we're going to compete by table. Which table's going to win? I love that. They don't even know what we're doing yet, but that table over there. Okay, there's the throwdown. Oh, they're table number 1, of course. A lot of good karma going on over here. And he's hungry, so that's a good thing. I'm sure after I've been talking about chips, you just want me to bring some chips over to you, right? Oh, you got some Rice Krispies right there. You got a new friend right over here. But the key thing about it is that your awareness to invent needs some priming. So my job today is to put some things in your head that'll help you invent. Because here's the big question. How do you spot a good idea? What is the process of how you spot a good idea? Well, here's a test. One of my favorite products that you have never seen is this one. Here's an idea. So one day the president of Frito-Lay walks into my office and he goes, hey, Stam, everybody just calls me Stam. Hey, Stam, I was reading in the Wall Street Journal that Nabisco is crushing it out there. What does Nabisco make? What aisle is this? Crackers. And they go, crackers are the new chips. I want something in this aisle. I want to disrupt them, like you said, be disruptive. And I went, you got it, boss. And off I went. So, like you, I had to look at this and go, so what's up? You could say, well, flavors, shapes, sizes. But let's stop back like we did with the chips. What are crackers made out of? Wheat. Now think, everyone. We've got to ask questions. What's bad about wheat now? I mean, these are baked already. But what's bad about wheat? Anybody know? Yeah, you're going for more points. What's that? Gluten. Anybody know what's wrong with, by the way, 1,000 points. Now you're up to 1,050. That's awesome. Come on, 100-pointer. You got to step up your game. The rest of you are still not playing. Okay, let's go. What's bad about gluten? Yes? Yes, they cannot digest the gluten. So they are worried about eating these kinds of products because they get digestion challenges, right? So guess what? By the way, 100 free points for you on that. She goes, where's my other ones from the other questions? Okay, I'll give you 500 net points, and now you're at 600. Okay, keep track. All right. The key thing is, what else could we make the crackers out of? Well, something that doesn't have gluten in it. But now we have to go scour the planet and try to find some grain that doesn't have gluten in it. So what could we make them out of? Yes? Rice. Absolutely, we could. But they already have rice crackers. You can buy them all over Asia and Japan and Singapore and great places like that. But rice crackers, Americans don't really dig it very much. What else could I make them out of that maybe you would like better? How about this product? I invented the very first corn-based cracker. We called them Doritos Cracker Crisps. They were little square corn-based crackers with nacho cheese on them. Teachers, how many of you would like to try a Dorito Cracker Crisp? They sound pretty ripping, don't they? Super Bowl, right? Watching your favorite team, Minnesota Vikings. Oh, no, I mean the Cleveland Browns. No, that's that a team? Yeah, I guess it is. Okay. Pittsburgh Steelers, Cincinnati Bengals. It's really funny for me, having lived in Cincinnati for 15 years, the Bengals are actually like good now. My son goes, I can't watch the Bengals. They're always so bad. I go, dude, you didn't turn the TV on this year yet. They're like actually good this year. Kind of weird, isn't it? Like a bad story, like a bad dream or something, right? Don't worry, they'll cave again. The thing is, a corn-based I'm just having fun with y'all. A corn-based cracker is really, really good, especially there's a rule. You put nacho cheese on anything, you put nacho cheese on cookies, and it's good, right? The thing is, this product had a very high score. On a 0 to 10, it got a 9.2 of acceptance, and people loved it. But why do you suppose you don't see this product today? Why do you suppose you don't see a great, and by the way, no gluten in it. This would be perfect for people who have celiac disease or Crohn's, right? People who can't digest certain kinds of protein. Why do you, oh, he's going for double points. He's like, where's my points, dude?
Like maybe multiple variations of product redesign made it a different look, had a different look.
Well, it's interesting. It always boils down to the economic. I love your design sense, by the way. You got a natural design sense about you. That's awesome. We need great designers, right? And being a designer, by the way, hot area to be in right now, being a designer. And I love the product designers because we didn't put it in a box. We put it in a thing called a Sika can. It had a really cool structure and you could make it real shiny, had a closable like flip top lid. The designers loved this product, right? But that's not the problem. It always boils down to that value equation, benefit divided by cost. Here's the problem. The benefit is what you buy in a product. When you go to the store, here's a little secret you don't know. When you go to buy a bag of chips on the store aisle, how old is that product in that bag? 3 days on average. Anywhere in the United States, 3 days. We have so many plants now, only 3 days. How fast do you consume a bag of chips in your house? Takes about 7 days, about 1 week. Most of you probably, if you go home and you look and you ask your mom, where's the crackers? They're in the pantry. And I'll bet you all have a box of crackers that's probably been there 6, 7 months, right? So here's a very simple question. Do you want a product that turns every 7 days or every 7 months? Who's the first person that knows the answer to that question?
Days.
Days beats months. And we never asked that question until we were out in the store and we saw the product not turning, and no one asked the question. I spent over $5 million inventing this product, and we couldn't launch it because the business didn't work, because no one asked the question, how fast will people eat these? All we were doing was designing, like you said, we designed a better product, and it worked. It actually is good for people with gluten challenges. So a gluten-free cracker is a great idea, but we can't make it work economically, and that's why you don't see certain things. You probably go, why can't I have, and you fill in the blank. Probably because there's some sort of economic problem. And half of what we have to do is to figure out how to make the economic problem better. Okay, this gives us a really good example of what gets in the way of our creative ideas. And it turns out it's your memory. Because most people try to solve a problem by just simply taking ideas out of their memory and forcing them to be the answer. But half of it is because we don't ask the right kinds of questions. So let's practice some questions, and then that way you'll be ready to do some inventing. We have 2 kinds of problems in the world. Those that are well-defined and those that are what we call ill-defined questions. Let's see how good you are at them. Here's one of my favorite well-defined questions. Ready? This is a tough one. 50 points, whoever gets this first.
4.
Who said that? I heard it over here. Look at you, another 100 points. Well, you're about 800 or so now. 4. How did you know that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4? Now let's talk to the educators for a second. Teachers, how do students know that 2 plus 2 is 4? They memorized it. Literally, mathematics is a memorized language, just like English. Math is no different than English, other than math talks about the language of reality. 2 plus 2 is 4. And English is the language of emotion. I love 2 plus 2 is 4. Right? I can express reality. That is an equation. But I can also express emotion. Can 2 plus 2 make emotion? Well, I don't know. 2 million plus $2 million is... If I gave that to you, would that make you emotional? Oh, yeah. He goes, oh, yeah. Would you trade the Rice Krispie treats for $2 million right now? Not even a hesitation. He doesn't need the treat that much. He can make a lot of his own Rice Krispie treats. So the thing is, well-defined problems are easy to answer. But the challenge is, well-defined problems rely on your memory. Here's one of my other favorite questions. I give this to my creativity class every semester. First quiz is, can you label the states with their 2-letter abbreviation? Okay, I love this confidence. You ready to play double or nothing? Okay, let's start with Ohio. OH, great. Iowa. Oh, gotcha, second time. Okay, here we go. Took 2 states. Who wants to play next? Come on. Come up here. Come up here. In front of everybody. Let's put you under some pressure. Here we go. Uh-oh, looks like you could take me. I'm going to back up real carefully here. Okay, what's your name? Justin.
Justin.
All right, who's going to vote for Justin? He can do 10. You think he can do 10?
Yeah, I believe in him.
You believe in him. Okay, buddy. Texas.
TX.
TX. Missouri.
MS.
Oh, that's Mississippi. 2. See, I love the confidence, by the way. Everybody give him a big hand. Do you know why I want you to give him a big hand? Because if you're not willing to stand up for what you think you know in your mind, but here's the challenge about your mind. Does it always work the way you want it to in terms of your memory? I hate to tell you this, but we spend all of our time, and sorry educators, you know what I'm going to say next, right? I think it's great that we spend all our time in education stuffing stuff in our head, but notice it's really hard to recall it when you need it. What we need is a way to process. Our brain is not invented or designed to be a storage device. Our brain is designed to be a processing device. So we have to put stuff in it to process because it's really very easy to confuse everybody. Anybody know what Montana? What's that? MT? Okay, you got 1. West Virginia. Am I at West Virginia? No. No. See, it's hilarious. Sometimes people get so excited about the problem, they forget what I'm looking at, right? What was I pointing to? North Carolina. So when I say West Virginia, you should have said NC. It's interesting, my students go, but that's not fair. Is the world fair? Your generation really ought to know the answer to this question. Is the world fair? No. Does it work on patterns? Yes. And our job is just to figure out the patterns. Okay. So what really happens in most of the world, which is why our memories don't really work on recall like that. Justin, sorry, it was an unfair opportunity, and I appreciate your ability to stand up in front of everybody. That was awesome, man. I love the confidence. Of course, you're a wrestler, right? I noticed that on the back of your shirt. So you got to be confident when you walk in that ring, right? You don't walk up and go, I think I'm going to have a terrible day. It doesn't work, does it? Not in wrestling anyway, right? But the rest of the world is built on ill-defined problems. Now, what's an ill-defined problem? Well, a defined problem is 1 question, 1 answer. And my favorite question that's black or white is this one. If I take my clicker and I let it go, what happens to it? It falls, right? I can do this 100 times, and everybody's going to get points every time. You're never going to miss this one, right? What's going to happen? Should we try it one more time? Okay, here we go. Because the day I let this go and it floats, lecture's over. We got bigger crap to worry about, right? If I let this go and it started to float all of a sudden, we better hang on to something, right? Because we got some issues. You see, to the creative, here's one thing I want you to leave today with. The answer to every question is, it depends. So the next time your parents say, hey, did you clean up your room? You just go, what? It depends. Define clean my room, Mom, right? I moved my alarm clock. That's good enough right there. You see, she's probably going to ground you, but hey, creatives, we have to have a little sense of the possible, right? So here's my first ill-defined problem I want to give you. How is a team, you're a wrestler, how is a team like this chair? How would you put those two together? How is a team like a chair? It's stable. It has 4 legs, and it sits on the chair. It's got to be stable. And a team has to have what? Everybody on the team has to pull together so that our team is stable. Everybody see how he put that together? But if I were to ask this question to the group, and there's 120 people in this room, there are 120 unique ideas. In other words, if we said you can't have that one, what's another way in which a team is like that chair? Yes, back there. Yeah, oh, there's all kinds of parts, and they all play a unique part. The arm is different than the back versus the fabric. You get 100 free points right there. Make sure you keep those points. All right? Awesome. Because here's the thing. You could say, well, Jeff, that's just a game. You're just making an analogy out of this. But if I'm the coach, and my team is not working together, offense is not talking to the defense, and people are screwing up, all I got to do is play Bobby Knight and just grab, you know who Bobby Knight is and what he did? Threw the chair at his team, right? He was a coach. He got so mad, he took the chair and he just threw it out there on the basketball court because his team wasn't acting like a unit. So instead of throwing the chair, I could go, okay, everybody, look, we're like a team. It's halftime, right? We're behind. I could go, team, we got to be like a chair. Everybody's got to do their part, like the fabric. Like the backstop, that's like the backstop. We need somebody who's got the defense, plays back in the safety zone, never lets anybody pass them. And the whole team's like, yeah, coach, we get it. Because what do analogies do? They put a story in your head that allows you to go, it's like this. In other words, when I was inventing baked lays, no one knew what a baked chip looks like. I said, it has to be like this. It's baked, but it's just as crispy as fried. And everybody goes, I don't think that's possible because I've never seen that in a book anywhere. All the answers in life aren't on the Google, or they're not in Wikipedia. They're not in a book. Sometimes you have to create it and give it sense. What's another way? What else are some of the people? Remember, entrepreneurship is a resource game. What's one of the resources that we could identify on this chair that's kind of unique? Yes? Wheels! 100 free points right there. Now double your score by attaching that to how that's like a team. Yeah, we got to be flexible. We got to be ready to be mobile. We got to be able to turn in any direction, no matter what, right? Do you all see how the wheels make the chair like a team? You see, it made sense to her. She transferred it to you, and all of you are going, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We got to be flexible. We got to be on the move. We got to change. Yes?
Yeah, I was about to say the wheels have to have a bunch of weight on them while they're moving, so that has to be.
We got to be able to carry the weight. Love it. By the way, I've given this to hundreds of people. I've never heard that analogy for the chair. That's completely original. 1,000 free points. Okay? I love that because that was his interpretation of seeing the world from his perspective, and we were able to share that. When you make something like something else, that one piece is in somebody's memory, a chair is in the memory, a team is in the memory, how he articulated the wheels to connect it was his vision. He owns that. Great invention. I like that. Yes? Support. Look, the teachers even want to get involved. Why do the teachers raise their hand and want to articulate something? Something about creation is it's addictive and sticky. Why? Because you go, I see it. I want to share it. That's what inventors do. Awesome. 100 free points for one of the teachers. Awesome. Hey, you're a teacher, right? No. Are you the bus driver again? I recognize you. He's done this before. He's an awesome bus driver. Okay, he should be a teacher. Get him off the bus. Get him in the classroom. Because here's the thing. There isn't magic to being creative. It's not a special gift for special people. Okay, I'm just a kid that grew up on a farm in Minnesota. Okay, all you have to do is be able to be open to the fact that things can change and have different possibility. Okay, so if a team is like a chair, here's one of my favorite questions. I will give 10,000 points because I've given it to hundreds of students and no one's ever gotten this one right. But I think maybe someone here could do it. Who thinks they can do it? Here we go. I like it. Don't even know what it is yet. Now, the cool thing about ill-defined problems is the answer to any problem is it depends, which means that there are many choices and there are better answers than others. I don't want a 1-point answer. I don't want a 10-point answer. I'm looking for the thing that makes you all go, wow, never thought of that. 10,000-point answer. Anybody can play. Ready? Teachers, bus drivers, anyone can do this, right? Here it is. How is a chair like this Tesla? That's my Tesla, by the way. Yes?
They don't have parts and mechanisms that operate to support like a.
That's a 1-point answer. I want a 10,000-point. That's, by the way, what he did, don't get down, that's expected. What he did is he took his eyes, he looked at this picture, and he went in his brain and goes, memory, 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 connect. You're going to have to process this. It's not a straight memory. It's not easy. Yes? That is true. That's a 2-point question. Answer. Yes. I love that. That's a great brown nose answer. That's worth another 1.5 points. Yes. I want something deep and profound that makes you go, oh, I've never thought of that. Yes. They both have 4 wheels. That's very obvious. That's 5 points. But by the way, don't get down on me. You're very bright. You can count to 4 at least, right? And you know what wheels look like. So there's some hope for the future, right? No, I love it. But I want something profound. Yes. They both, now watch. 4 wheels each, and they get their places. We're getting closer. That's 10 points.
They serve a purpose.
They serve a purpose, and the answer to that is duh, right? Again, very expected, right? You wouldn't make something and go, I just invented an electric, I don't know, has no purpose. By the way, that is awesome. You get 100 points just for that funny answer. You're a comedian, didn't even know, and he's hungry. Yes?
There's lots of little parts that you don't see, and they all work together.
Nathaniel, I appreciate that, but that is obvious. So here we got to do this. Let's work this out. Yes, couple more. They did. Congratulations, teacher, bus driver. Ooh, I was hoping because the bus driver drives a bus every day that maybe he would be close to getting this. But we have to think about okay, here's how you do this, inventors. What do they do? What does a chair do with wheels and a electric car with wheels? If they both have wheels, what do? They both move. They go. But how do they go? What's the thing that makes them go in common? Yes? Oh, you're so close. Yes, in the chair, to make it move, I just have to put my feet and I move it, right? And in a Tesla, I just have to put one foot and just push it down on the pedal and I make it move. But that's not the 10,000 point answer. The 10,000 point answer is, how do they move? Yes?
You have to take part in it?
Exactly, that's obvious, right? I don't sit in the car and go, well, what's up, car? And the car just goes, okay, we're going somewhere. No, that would be scary. Self-driving cars are cool, but you got to at least tell it where it's going. If you get in a car and it just starts going random places, that's going to be kind of freaky. Anybody know? Yes, bus driver. Okay, you get 5,000 points, and I'm not going to give it to you anymore because you're so close, but you're not articulating the right kind of energy. They both move with electricity. How does that move? If I move my legs, what causes my legs to move? Electrical currents through my muscles. Me pushing my chair uses electricity in the microvolts, and a Tesla uses lots of volts. They use energy, but they both operate by electricity. And you're all going, oh, you know that, but why couldn't you call it up? It's a memory allocation challenge. You were getting, he goes, I was getting, he goes, oh, give me 5 more minutes. But he's on the process. In other words, notice what we did? We processed the answer. Even though you had the memory, you couldn't find it. Not being able to recall something isn't an age issue. It's a cluttered hard drive issue. And it's not knowing where to find the information. I love this question because you're all like, oh, of course. Isn't that a really big aha moment when you went, they both work with electricity? Did you realize that every day when you're out there playing football and you do like this, that's called electricity? You know how you make that true? You taser someone and say, move the chair now. I guess that was funnier in my mind, but okay. So the answer to any question is, it depends. And what does it depend on? Well, it depends on context, driven by your perception. You have to process it. So go back to it does something useful. That's the starting point. In other words, the only reason we invent something is it has to have utility, usefulness, and it has to be novel. Why? Because it exchanges for something I'm currently doing to do something different. I pick the untucked shirt because the really long ones look really stupid and I don't want to actually tuck them in my shirt. So I'm willing to spend $100 for a shirt in order to have one that looks right, that my designer friends don't go, stamp, that shirt's too long, dude. Fortunately, I don't pay anything because I'm a sponsor. I'm the oldest influencer on the planet. Okay, I get to be an influencer for this brand because I speak in front of thousands of executives and I say, buy an untucked shirt. And guess what they do? They go, I could make one myself, I could have my tailor do it, or I could go to the website and buy one. That's what great service companies do. They make something that does something you need to have it do, and it's a better exchange than doing what you're currently doing. That make sense? All right, so let's do this. Here's my trick question. And by the way, get ready to hand out the first exercise because in a few minutes we're going to take a little break and you're going to invent something. Who wants to invent something? All right. I got lots of hopes for y'all. Okay. Wait, by the way, I always say you all because I learned that when I lived in Texas working at Frito-Lay. And as a director of, oh, by the way, as a director of new products, I created baked Lay's, baked Tostitos, baked Doritos, baked Cheetos, baked Ruffles, and one product that they've never launched, baked Sun Chips. Now, why do you suppose they never launched, baked Sun Chips, by the way, rock. Why do you suppose they never launched baked Sun Chips? Because most people think they're already healthy. They are not. They're fried, still have 40% fat, but you perceive that they're healthy. Why? Context. What's the context on the bag that says to you, these are healthy? It says Sun Chips. And what's on the front? The sun and pictures of whole grain wheat and vegetables. And so you go, huh, it must be healthy. I kid you not. This is going to make you laugh. Teachers, you're going to love this one. Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Picture the box in your head from the store. And what does it have on the front? Corn Flakes in a bowl with a spoon with strawberries. The number one question that people get on the 1-800-complaint line is, bought a box of Corn Flakes, where's my bowl, my spoon, and my strawberries? There's just Corn Flakes in this box. Okay, just go silly boomers, right? Just silly boomers. Ridiculous, right? But that's what people do. They perceive the world the way they think that they wanted to do something for them, right? That's why they bought the box. They said, serve me. But the product didn't match the expectation. Okay, here's my favorite trick question of the day. Trick question. I'm going to fully disclose. What was the first internet? The first internet was what? Yes? I love it how he goes, ARPANET, which he pulled out of your memory. You obviously weren't alive. Okay? How do you know that? You read it somewhere, right? Okay, so everybody, what is your name, by the way? Austin. Austin says the ARPANET. I say the first internet was the railroad. Who's more right? Who wants to bet on Austin? Who wants to bet on me? Now, how did we do that with the chair and the team? We had to ask some questions to make a connection. Let's work at it. Let's ask some questions. What's the internet? What is it? Yes?
Provide information.
It is a medium that provides information. How? How does the internet provide information? Yes? I'm digging table 9. Table 9 is going to rock it in this invention game. Okay, interpersonal communication, how? Keep asking questions. Remember, here's how you process your way out of bad memory. Because no one knows this until, and once I tell you, you'll be like, yeah, I already knew that. But the reason you can't bring it up is we're not processing it. Yes?
It's a medium of information by putting one zeros in a laptop or whatever.
Okay, connected to this.
A railroad is like a medium of information physical wise.
It is. This is the wire. This is the server, and the cars represent packets of ones and zeros. All the internet is a delivery system for packets of ones and zeros and a set of instructions called a program that actually accomplishes something. Movement from here to there. Your email goes across the country on a railroad train in a little wire. Austin, who was more right, you or me? No, you were right. The ARPANET was still the internet, but I said the key question here is the first internet. So this beats it by time because the train was before the ARPANET. So who wins? I love this. You can get 1,000 points right now. Is it Mila? If you can beat me on this game, the first internet was then, if it depends, and this is the train, give me a better internet before the train. Just go in your memory, process it. Oh, bus driver knows. The Pony Express. Ding, ding, ding. 1,000 points. Beat him. Who wants to take ownership of this one? Go ahead. The printing press. Oh, Gutenberg, 1685. Who else?
Our legs are now because we walk and talk.
Oh, the human internet. That's freaky. He's a cyborg. Love it. Live it. Yes. What's that? Song. Oh, dude, that rocks. Who else? By the way, that's another original one. I've never heard anybody say when I say the first internet was song. I've never heard that one.
Birds. Like times like the notes on the.
I'm hanging with you for a while. Birds. But birds poop on stuff, and sometimes the internet sends you back crap too. Hey, gotta have a little fun as a creative. Hey, I was waiting for someone to say like the Silk Road or Roman walk, the road, the wheel, right? Is that what you had? Is that what you were going to say? You had your hand up. The boats, the Erie. Oh, we're in Ohio, the Erie Canal. How'd we miss that one? Bad memories. See, your memories suck. Seriously, if you work with just your memory, I know it works great for the test tomorrow, but after that, your memory just sucks. So what you have to do is ask what? Did you notice how I get to the it depends stage? You have to use what? Questions. The best skill you can learn in school is ask freaking questions all the time. Your teacher goes, 2 + 2 is 4. You'll be like, how's that? How's that? Don't make me memorize it. Explain to me how that is. How did you first learn to understand 2 + 2? What did you use? What was the tool? A calculator? Whatever happened to the number line? Do we not teach the number line anymore in math? I'm a mathematician. I'm going to cry. You see, there are tools and resources. Remember, everything is about resources. So let's do this. Okay. So remember, it depends, right? Everything, it depends. Okay, so what we're going to do, context and perception. We're going to do an exercise called the word hack. Now, we're going to hand out these papers. Let them, go ahead, hand them out. And there are 2 papers. Everybody should get one. And this is now your resources. This is your stimulus. This is the things you're going to use to process. So get the papers real quick. Then what I'll do is I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to get these papers. I'm going to give you the instructions. I know everybody, because you got the papers, I would lose everybody's attention, but do this. I'm going to show you the instructions, and then I'm going to let you work. If you need to take a break, take the break while you're working, but don't leave right now. Just wait 1 second. I'll give you the instructions. Then we'll turn you loose, and you get 10 minutes to do this. Here's what you're going to do. Okay, everybody? Up here first. Don't look at the papers yet. That won't help you any because there's no memory of the stuff on the paper. I need to put the context for you. One of the best things you can invent are new words in the English language. It's the easiest thing to invent. And my students do this in class, and we spend all semester playing with words on the internet. Because before we transact in dollars, we transact in song and words, right? Okay? We transact in words. The English language, it turns out, is incredibly malleable. For example, one of my favorite new words right now is ridiculosity. It's a combination of the word ridiculous and velocity. And ridiculosity means when something goes from bad to worse really fast. And you can actually now find this word in the dictionary. 5 years ago, it did not exist. Now it does. Okay? There are all kinds of great words. Infotainment, chillax, my other favorite word, craptastic. That's a craptastic idea, Stamp. Crap and fantastic. Fantastic crap idea, right? Even brand names, like the brand name NyQuil, YouTube. These are hybrid words. We do this all the time. The word television, telescope, and vision, to see far away. That's how they taught people, this is what a TV is. You see stuff that's far away from here. So here's what you're going to do. The newspaper is full of really juicy, multiple syllable big words, but we don't have time to go through the whole newspaper. So I took out of USA Today last week a bunch of words. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to take the words. Here's a bunch of words. And the first step is you're going to split the words into 2. Just in 2 pieces, not all the syllable splits. Like, for example, candidate. There are 3 syllables, but you want to split it into 2 words because you're going to use these as ingredients in your little frying pan of making new words. Here's how you do it. First, take a couple of minutes, split all the words on the paper into 2. Work on your own to split the papers. Then what you want to do is you want to just circle 2 words at random, and then what do? You put them together in a new way. So in this case, I took the word emergency and beverage, and I made the word bevmergency. Okay, sounds pretty cool. Now what you have to do is you have to give it sense. You have to give it a definition. A bevmergency is a class so boring that only a highly caffeinated beverage can make the situation tolerable. See? Laughter proves that I made a transaction. I just did a cognitive verbal transaction in English with a new word, and our journalism professor goes, that's a cool word. Bevmergency. You see, you can invent new words instantly. You just have to have the resources. So here's what I want you to do. You're going to do this with this. You got the paper, right? Okay, step 1, you got to have some resources. I gave them to you. take just a couple of minutes now, take your pen and split the words right down the middle. And if you haven't got a pen, okay, I don't know how to help you because it's a class, you should have a pen, but you probably got one to share. Then work as a group on your team, work together and do this. Circle 2 words at random. Then what you do is you recombine the word pieces, and then you create the new word, give it a definition, use the word in a sentence, and then do it again. If you put the words together and it just sounds like crap, don't do it. Combine the pieces until you find something you like, and in 10, 15 minutes when we come back together, we'll have you pitch your new words. You ready? Go. And if you want to take a break, go to the restroom, get some water. But in 15 minutes, we're going to come back, okay? There's the instructions. Give it a whirl. All right, everybody. Here's the fun part about these words. I am fascinated by what groups of people will create. And sometimes there's words that people will see patterns, and they'll find similar kinds of patterns. Like the word democracy is a really common word that people like to take apart and play with. So one of the things I would love to do is I have a website here where we have a page where you can enter your ideas, and we're doing a little contest with all the schools that I go to this year. So if you have a word that you really like, go to this. There's a piece of paper on your desk here later on when you're having lunch. Go on that site. It's on the piece of paper at your table, and enter your words. I would love to consider them in the high school division. And also, Dawn has asked me, there's a card on the table. Fill this out, because at the end of the day, we're going to give away some prizes. So fill out this card at your table, and give them. I guess you're going to have them pick up at lunch. We'll pick them up at lunch. All right. So let's do this. Who would like to share the words? Who has a great word? Dawn, over there, microphone. So here's what I want you to do. Take the 2 words that you started with, say the 2 words, say the word that you made, and then give it in a sentence. Okay, listen up.
Okay. I got technical and explosive.
Technical and explosive. So in your mind, think about how you'd put it together, and you came up with the word?
Techplosive.
Techplosive. And what does that mean?
An aspect of being immensely detailed and or containing a vast amount of creative elements.
There you go. Or it could be that new iPhone that you just bought, and the first time you turn it on, it broke. Right? Yeah, I love it. Who has another word? Over here. On table 9. Ridiculous and? Here we go. Take our 2 words.
Ridiculous and manipulation.
Ridiculous. Okay, this is great. Ridiculous and manipulation. So you created ridiculation. Ridiculation, okay? And what's the definition?
The manipulation into ridiculous order.
Yeah, you manipulate somebody so much that it just gets ridiculous after a while, right? Now notice, have him say the word one more time. Notice when you hear a brand new word that you've never heard in English, how hard that is for your head to wrap around it, right? Say it again.
Ridiculation.
Right. Any non-native English speakers? Anybody here who is not naturally an English speaker by definition? If you've ever been to another, how many people have been to another country where they speak a different language in it? When you hear another word, no matter how you learn French, if you're standing in Paris and someone speaks a word to you in French, what does your brain do? It goes, what is that? Right? It's hard when you first make these words to get your brain to wrap around it, but guess what? Once you've memorized the new word, it's sticky. It's sticky, right? As I think, matter of fact, you had, okay, so ridiculous, these are some of the words my students created. Ridiculous and delicious. Ridiculicious. Anybody create that word out here? That's a ridiculous and delicious are 2 words your eyes will recognize. If you thought about how you made the words, you looked down that list and you found something that the words were familiar to you. And some words are more familiar than others. Is there any word on this list that anybody created already? Yes, which one? Brewtector. Now that's interesting. Brewery and protector. Why did you pick that word? And be careful, you can't say I like beer because you're underaged. Yeah, it was funny. And that's really how you want to process. Remember, if the answer to anything is it depends, and it's driven by your context, then your new perception, if it's funny, what's great about comics? You remember the funny things, right? That's why when we do creative stuff, we love to have a good time, because when you're laughing and having a good time, guess what? We actually have proven this in research that if you're having a good time while you're learning, you're less likely to say no to the new information. If you're laughing and having a good time, you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. Or, no, that's really horrible. What's another word that somebody came up with? Any other person? The word awkward comes up a lot. Anybody take the word awkward and make it into something? Yes, what'd you make?
Expect word.
Okay, so here we go. Awkward and what?
Oh, expecting.
Awkward and expecting.
Sorry.
Yeah, awkward and expectation. What word did you come up with?
Expect word, which means expecting something to be awkward.
Expecting something to be awkward. Like I met this speaker and it was just awkward. It was what was it? What's the word?
Expect word.
Expect word. Yeah. Awkward. What would be the other way to do it? Awkwardtation. Yeah. Notice how hard it is for your brain to get wrapped around until you find a nice, easy word to fit together. One of my favorite words is salivosive. Saliva and explosive. Salivosive is something that you buy, like those Rice Krispie treats with sriracha Rice Krispie treats were salivosive. The first bite made me salivate excessively. How about sriracha Rice Krispie bars? Doesn't that sound like an awesome flavor together? It actually is pretty good. I'd be glad to send you some. No. What's some other words that people came up with? Right here. Or there. Yes.
Entercore, so entertainment and awkward, and it's a performance or show that is so awkward it is almost unbearable to watch.
I love that. Give her a hand. That's a good one. I like that. Yeah. And it's funny because it's just almost the backwards of this word, right? Of awkwardtainment, right? Now, do you know why the word awkward is very familiar to some of you? Why is the word awkward something that's in your head right now? Where do you see awkward a lot? Yes?
Because it's spelled weird.
It is, but who does it remind you of? Connected to things on Netflix and on TV, which is the world that everybody lives in on streaming. Where does the word awkward come in on your streaming that you see a lot? Maybe not for this group then. It's interesting. In the college age groups, everywhere I go across the country, I've been to 7 different universities in the last 2 months, and the word awkward is a popular one. Yes?
Well, actually, I just thought of Awesomeness TV. Maybe even though it's not awkward, but
Anybody know the comedian Aquafina? No. Okay, it's a different age demographic. The college students all think Aquafina is hilarious, and that word is something that they see. Remember, your memory will be the first thing that will attract your attention to something, right? I love the idea you had. You have to share yours.
Oh,
This is Cameron. Now tell the 2 words that this is hilarious. Now listen to this one.
Explosive and democracy, and it means when
So put the word, what's the new word?
explocracy.
Explocracy.
And it means when a president blows up our democracy, and I also made another noun for it, or an extremist form of democracy.
An extremist form of democracy is called a explosocracy.
And in a variable of it is expocratic.
Explocratic? Are you kidding me? You doubled down?
Yeah. I can make up a sentence. I've been trying to think of one. The next 4 years is going to be very terrible because our next president is extremely expocratic.
There you go. Give her a big hand. I love it. Now, why does that become present tense? Remember, creativity is about finding perception and context. All of your lives right now have a context. And so what is familiar becomes the ingredients that you use to interpret the world. We call it sense making, right? You have to make sense of the world. But when you do this pure creativity, you have to actually give it sense, give it a definition before it makes sense. Now, what we do with our students is we actually make them take these words and put them on social media, and they get 2 weeks to see how far the words will go. Last year, I had students create this word, so I put it back in there, newspaper and universe. And they came up with the word called newsiverse. And they basically said newsiverse is where someone is so popular that they create their own universe of news media. The Kardashians begin their own newsiverse, right? The students actually got that paper into the student paper at the University of Minnesota because they gave it to one of the reporters and shared the word with her. And she said, I love that word. And so she wrote a piece about the Kardashians and their own newsiverse. You see, that's how new words happen, is you have to have the courage now to share them with someone else. What's another word that someone came up with that they really liked? Over here, table 10. So here we go. 2 words. What are the 2 words?
2 words is technology and presentation.
Technology and presentation.
And what I came up with was tectation.
Tectation, which by the way, sounds pretty good, right? Tectation. What's it mean?
Someone who's doing a presentation about technology.
There you go. There you go. Love it. Give him a big hand. All right, table 11.
My 2 words were organization and circumstance.
Okay.
I came up with the word circumcision.
Circumcision, okay.
Putting an organized situation or organizing thoughts to get out of a situation.
Right. Putting together the good, oh, I like that. Putting together thoughts, an excuse to get out of any situation. Like it. All right. Table 16 right here, Don. He's going past 16, going up to 16. All right, there we go.
My 2 words were expectation and emotional. I said emotation,
Yes.
and it means expected emotional reaction to a situation.
Yes. I love that. That's 1,000 points right there. That's a very good word. Emotation. Emotation, a situation where the emotional response was very expected. I love that. Give her a big hand. That's a great word. Somebody else. What's another one? Another couple of words that are always, delicious is a great word to split up. So students last week in my class came up with the word technolicious, where you buy that new iPhone and it's just so technically wonderful. It's technolicious. See how these words start to develop in your head as, wow, I could use that word. Yes, what's yours? Table 5.
So my word was examine and brewery.
Examine and brewery.
Or examery.
Examery, yes.
So it's like a building where you take tests at and exams.
So it's an exam house.
Yeah.
I love it. Give him a big hand. That's great. Does people say, Hiru, you're my hero? Do people say that all the time?
When they get my name wrong, yeah.
Okay. How do you pronounce it better?
Peru.
Haru. See, syllables aren't. It depends on how you say it. I apologize. Now I know. Now I have to memorize it. Right? Who else has another word? Over here, table 13, microphone.
I did identify and ridiculous.
Identify, and ridiculous.
Ridiculous. To identify something as ridiculous.
Okay, hang on a second. You're going too fast. I've got to learn this new word. So what's the new word?
Ridiculous.
Okay. Say it again.
Ridiculous.
Okay. And what's the definition? That's a great word because I can't even put it in my head. Yes, ridiculous.
To identify something as ridiculous.
Okay, so in other words, you're shocked that it's so ridiculous. Like you just identify with it, right? Love it. Give him a hand. I love it. Now notice, what's the one thing you're learning about creativity? It's not simple. Like you could put together words all afternoon and you're going to throw away what? 90% of them as that's just not working for my head, right? Here's the thing. You can't just sit down and invent something in 5 minutes and go, it's awesome and perfect. Sometimes you get really lucky because you can put 2 words together that you really like emoplosive, emotion and explosive. Emoplosion. That kind of works. You kind of get it. It's an emotion that's just so explosive that it just makes you really happy or really sad. And it takes a while to practice putting the words together before you get something that makes you go, huh. But did you like putting them together? When you finally got the 2 words to go together, did you kind of go, huh? Did it kind of tickle your brain a little bit and go, well, what if? Did that happen? Or are you still kind of like, oh man, I got to work harder? What's another word that somebody came up with that they'd like to share? I like these. Teachers. Who wants to be brave back there, teachers? Show your students how creative you are. Over here. I make everybody play along.
I did evacuation and tactics.
Evacuation and tactics, yes.
So it's evacuactics.
Evacuactics, I love it.
And it's a skill set to swiftly exit a bad situation.
Ooh, I like that. Someone who's very adept at getting out of bad situations instantly. Give her a big hand. That's really good. You see, I give this same exercise. I've been doing this all fall, and I've given this to hundreds of students. In that set of words, there's probably now, I think we've collected over 400 different words. That word I've never heard, that combination I've never heard. So give yourself a pat on the back for at least having the courage to put together 2 words and saying, okay, I've got to come up with a new combination. Because here's the thing, customers are going to see your new combination and they're going to wonder what it is. Now, you weren't around when Baked Lays was first invented. It's now almost 20 years old, so it's a little bit older than you are. But when we first launched Baked Lays in the Super Bowl, that's how we launched it in the Super Bowl. If you were to think back before then, and there was no such thing as a baked snack product, when I said to people, would you like to try a new baked snack product? You know what they said to me? No, because in their mind, in their memory, what was the only thing you had as a baked snack product back in the day? Before you had Baked Lays, what did you have as the only thing you could have as a baked snack product? Maybe you remember it, maybe you don't. It was called a rice cake. Anybody ever had a rice cake before? Aren't those horrible? Okay, it's like steel wool for your colon or something, right? It's just not very edible. And so people had that in their memory and they thought if it's baked, that means it's going to taste terrible. So the first thing we had to overcome wasn't that it was healthy. What the biggest problem was, people didn't believe it was going to taste good. Because in food, if it doesn't taste good, it doesn't matter how much utility or how much value it has. Because remember, what's the equation? Value is equal what you get divided by what you give up. Because you've got a lot of words you can use to express yourself. That's why a lot of people only use certain words to express themselves, because they get great value at them at no cost. That's called swearing. Great value, low cost. Anybody can swear. It takes you a little bit more cognitive expense to come up with a more eloquent sentence than F you, right? It's pretty easy to do that. So you think about all the things you do to communicate, and how you do the world will really depend upon the cost of doing anything. And so what's interesting is, does this actually work? Well, a number of years ago when I first started using this tactic, I had one of my students who wanted to go into advertising. And she got a job at Foot Cone and Belding in Chicago, a great advertising agency. And she actually took the word Honda and confidence, remembered this exercise, put the 2 words together, and they still use this at Honda today, 10 years later, in their warranty program they call Honfidence. So it's a Honda-backed warranty that covers everything on your car, so you don't just have confidence, you have Honfidence. And it turns out that there are a lot of great words like this that you now see in advertising because people actually try it. She got promoted over something that we did in class that she then took and used it professionally. You see this a lot. As a matter of fact, Snickers is doing a series of commercials where they have made up words as part of hangry, right? Have you ever heard hungry and angry? Hangry? See, these are words that now people invent and go, oh my God, that's hilarious. I'm going to use it. And what's interesting is, if you have a word like confidence, why is it better than confidence? Because it's branded by Honda. It has more trust. And so what you get is more than just plain confidence. You get confidence if you're a Honda buyer and you actually like the Honda brand. So every idea has to find a customer. And it has to do what? We talked about this before. It has to have utility to solve a problem. Now, what's interesting, now, how many of you really, be honest, like really struggled with putting the 2 words together? If you did, have you figured out why, birthday girl? I like that, birthday girl. That's now I know. I have an identifier now. Is it really your birthday today? It was Doan's birthday yesterday. So why was it hard? Was it just because it didn't sound right in your head?
Yeah, it just didn't sound right, and then putting them together, it's just like, could this actually be a word? Like, it's just...
I love that she said that. What she said was, when I put them together, I wondered, could this be a word? Yes, if you give it sense. Because our normal thing to do is to say, if I haven't seen it before, how can it be real? And you're kind of worried, is it going to be right or is it going to be wrong? Yeah. Right. Here's the thing about creativity. It isn't wrong, even if someone tells you it's wrong, because if it's a new definition, you're being disruptive, and that's what creatives have to be, is disruptive. You have to change what's right and wrong. So you have to own the word that you create. You have to own the things that you put out in the world, because how many people do you suppose told me that Baked Lays was a dumb idea? Or use any phrase, adjective phrase before idea? I've heard them all, right? You can't let other people dictate right or wrong when you've got something to share with the world. You've got to be able to go, I see these two words together. Here's why it's beneficial. I'm going to use this word, and I'm going to walk around and use this word, and I'm going to spread it around. That's how ideas have to happen, is you have to have the courage to be able to stand up and go, this is what I think. So when you get more time, just play with them, and you'll come up with one. And the best part, for those of you who came up with the word, didn't it feel really good to invent something in your head that hadn't been done before? Because these are unique words. Your word, I've never heard that word, and it was the first time that word has ever been announced in the universe. That's kind of a cool gig right there, to be able to go, huh. And what happens is your brain lights up, and you get a little serotonin flush in your brain. You go, that's right, I can create stuff. And once you know you can, it becomes something that becomes a habit. It's really fun to come up with stuff. And the way you do it is you just look for problems in the world and go, I wonder if I did it differently. I wonder if there's a better way. I mean, I can't give L'Oreal a bad time about making a smart hairbrush that tells you how many times you brushed your hair, when in fact it actually solves a problem, makes your hair shinier. Only problem is, nobody cares. Sometimes we invent stuff that it's neat, but it has no place. So what do we do about that? Well, we have to show it to customers. So the most difficult creative skill is to recognize a good idea when you see one. To your point, how do I know that it's going to be like a good enough word? It just has to be good enough for you. If it's good enough for you, then you can share it with the rest of the world. If they don't get it, they don't get it, right? But these are the kind of things that I get asked all the time. Companies come to me and they go, okay, so you did this other thing. Help us with something. Okay, so I'm going to show you another one of the products I created, but it started with a question. And again, questions help you figure out how to invent. So for example, if I were to ask you the question, what is the #1 cookie in America? What's the #1 cookie? Yes, table 10. There you go. Oreo. Congratulations, 100 free points. I'll give you 1,000 if you can tell me why. Why is Oreo the #1 cookie in the world?
Isn't Oreo also vegan too?
It is vegan, yes. That is true, yes. Well, wait. I want to try for 1,000 points. You get first try. Then we'll let table 9 steal it.
Maybe it's because you can dip it in milk.
Ooh, how many people when they eat an Oreo dip it in milk? That is an answer. That is the second most popular reason why Oreo, because they say what's their tagline? Milk's favorite cookie. But that's not the #1 reason why Oreo is the #1 cookie. Yes?
I mean, it's kind of broad. It's a broad answer, but they brand themselves well enough to have an impression on people.
Okay, that's a marketing answer. You've got design and marketing skills. You'll go far, but I want to know the tactile reason why a customer sits down and go, I want to eat an Oreo.
Well, they surpassed their competitor because they were also kosher.
Okay, that's a segmentation. You guys are really good marketers. I want to know we create through the consumer's eyes, not the marketing eyes. The marketing is what we create next. First, we got to figure out a problem. Yes?
They taste good.
Do they? Who here thinks the chocolate in an Oreo is a brilliant chocolate? The frosting, is that a brilliant frosting? So what's the rule? Sucky chocolate, sucky frosting, 2 negatives make a positive? It's not really good chocolate and it's not really good frosting. Why is it still the #1 cookie? Yes? It is different, but different how? How is it different? Oh my God, 1,000 points right there. There it is. Is it Avi?
Yeah.
Now I'm nervous now. I got to make sure it's Haru, right? I'm going to get it down. So Avi, why did you say? Because you can twist it apart. How many people twist the Oreos apart before they eat them? As a matter of fact, on the East Coast, 10% of the people on the East Coast, talk about marketing segmentation, they'll open up 3 or 4, take a knife, scrape off the frosting, and eat the frosting off the knife. Right? That's what Doan does, okay? It's an East Coast trick. Do you do that? Do you twist them? Why do you twist them?
Take one cookie off and eat the half and then eat the other.
Which half do you eat first? Frosting one first or the cookie first?
The frosting one.
Then you put the other cookie one in the milk. No, just eat it separate. Okay. Everybody does it different. Now, as a food person, we film people all the time. We actually give them products, put them on video, and say, eat, and watch what they do. When you watch your friends eat, it's really fascinating to see how people evaluate their foods that they eat, right? So it's the #1 cookie because it has play value. I can twist it. But the problem is you don't have control of how much frosting you get. I have a cookie, and I have the frosting side. And so what I said is, well, we can beat Oreo. Remember, Oreo is the #1 cookie. And so what do all the competitors do? They make a different kind of sandwich cookie. Vanilla Oreos, then there's double stuff, triple stuff, and there's like a package, 2 ends and just frosting, right? They could do, but I said, wait a minute, we have to be disruptive. We have to do something that people are going to go, that's different. But I have to understand what's the real problem. The problem is, all you get is the frosting on the one cookie. So what I decided to do is I said, I'm going to invent something different. Anybody ever had this product? The Dunkaroos? Anybody? I invented this product. Okay? Now what's the magic of the Dunkaroos? Why is Dunkaroos a really cool gig? Now, it's not as big as Oreos yet, but we're denting them. We're scaring them. I can prove it. I'm going to show you in a minute. Nabisco came to me and said, hey, dude, what you up to? Right? It gets competitive in the cookie business. Where's my wrestler? You want to be my bodyguard? I could use a bodyguard, right? Because cookie wars are real, man. They're real. Yeah.
They're transportable and like easy to take around.
They're easy to take around, but they solve one problem. If you have an Oreo and you're just twisting it apart, what do you get to do with this product? You get to do what? Here, I'm going to have you. You're Austin, right? Okay, watch Austin. We're going to make him eat right in front of us. Okay, show us how this works. Show us how the product works. Now watch him. Okay, he's our guinea pig. We're going to do some research right here. He's going to tear it open, if he can. Where's our wrestler? We need somebody who can get that open. Oh, for God's sakes.
My hands are sticky, that's why.
Okay, it's okay. It's under pressure too, so you got to go sideways. That's how you do it. Little twist on the side. I'm not really that strong. I just know how I sealed it.
Yeah, you made the product.
I made it, so I got it down, man. Okay, so here you go. So here we go. Ooh, no, see, you wish you'd have put your hands up. Now watch him. Watch him now. He takes a cookie. He then proceeds to dunk it. And notice how, hold that up for everybody to see. He gets to control how much frosting is on the cookie. Give control to the cookie, people! Oh, I guess no one sees my excitement. Okay. Okay, so what he did is he changed it from the cookie constraints. Does anybody want to be put down by the man and say, this is all the frosting you can have in a cookie? No, I want my own cookie freedom. Freedom for the cookies, right? And that, I wanted to have a Scottish guy be but they wanted a stupid Australian kangaroo marketing people. Who knows? I don't know. But think about it. When you want the cookie, you want X amount of frosting on it. Now, each person would want different amounts of frosting. Now, there's 6 cookies or so in there, 8 cookies. How many cookies do you suppose you eat before all the frosting's gone? About 3, right? You just scoop it up and you like the frosting. Because she demonstrated, I eat the frosting side first, right? So the whole idea is kids control the cookie. Austin, go ahead. You may eat the cookie. It's actually good for you. Okay. It's vegan, natural, and all natural ingredients. Okay. The opportunity is now, kid is happy, Austin's happy, and his mom is happy because what do cookies represent? A reward. When you came home from school when you were 4 years old, right? Oh, what is your name? Christopher. Christopher, when you came home, you had your backpack, and you're coming home. Mom goes, Christopher, how was your day? And he goes, oh man, my day was great. Did you have fun with your friends? Yep. Did you play nice? Yep. And so what happens? Mom gives you cookies and milk. And he realizes, you know, if I just answer these questions right, I'm going to get a reward. So about 2 weeks later, you come home from school, your knees are all full of grass, and you look like your shirt's been torn. And Mom goes, everything okay, Christopher? Did you have a good day? He goes, yep. Did you play nice with your friends? He goes, yeah. And he got the cookies, but then about 2 hours later, my mom calls you up because you beat me up at school, right? He goes, that would have been easy, right? The thing is, we learned that rewards are a part of our natural behavior. Did your mom ever give you a reward because you did something nice? Yeah. We do that as part of our human connection. Why is mom doing that? Mom wants you to be happy, and Austin wants to be happy. I've watched, when I put this product in the store, I literally would watch moms with their kids come in the grocery store, and the dialogue was hilarious. Because the little cartoon, the little kangaroo, we used to have it on the Saturday morning cartoons, and the kids would come in and go, Mommy, I want some Dunkaroos. And the mom would look at the kid and go, those are horrible for you. You can't have those. And then she'd take the kid and they'd walk off. And I'm like, lady, you're grouchy today. So I actually made a mistake one day. I actually followed the little kid, took up my billfold and gave him $5 and said, go buy your own. And then I had to explain to the cop in the parking lot about 30 minutes later why I wasn't trying to steal her kid. You know, as an inventor, don't ever intervene with the animals in the wild, right? You just put your products out there. But fortunately, the store owner knew me, so I had to get my get out of jail free card. But the key thing is that every consumer wants to have control of what they eat, right? Wouldn't it be neat to be able to have your own frosting and be able to figure out how much you want on there? And that's why the cookie is popular, because your food is a form of play. Look, now notice, he ate one, now he's going to eat the rest of them. He's sitting here going, should I have the rest? Just having a good time. I wish we'd have brought enough for everybody. That's what we should have done, right? The key thing is, what you're trying to do is you're trying to solve a problem. And even something as simple as how do I eat a cookie is a form of solving a problem. Now, what's interesting is that these companies always expect the right answer. To your part, birthday girl, I give you a lot of credit. You were very brave to say that. A lot of people, when they ask me a question, they go, give me the answer. What's the next, if Oreo is going to be different, what's the next best Oreo? What should be, if we're going to reinvent Oreo, how do we do that? What should be a better flavor? Because it's chocolate and vanilla. Well, we got to ask some questions. Like, what time of year is it right now? What's the next holiday that's coming up? Halloween. Exactly. Halloween. Now, how many of you go out trick-or-treating still today? All right. So what food companies do is they go, let's make something holiday. Let's make a holiday theme. So you tell me, is this a good idea? Raise your hand if you think this sounds like a good cookie. Candy corn Oreos. Only 3 people. Okay, Christopher goes, I want some. Okay, interesting. Why do they think this is a good idea? By the way, this is just like inventing a new word. What do? Took the cookies, took a different flavor, and I smashed them together. Now, I'm going to show you a bunch of ideas that I've got 7 more flavors here. We're going to figure out which is the best one. But why did they pick candy corn, you think? Yeah.
I've seen like in the past like how candy corn has gone well like with a lot of things, and it's like blown up and like. It's
a classic. It's blown up for 100 years. Okay, it's the original Halloween candy. Okay, and it's generic. There's no brand. You could say, well, why don't you put like Hershey's chocolate in an Oreo? Oreo doesn't own Hershey's, right? Why don't you put like Snickers in an Oreo? They don't own Snickers, right? They can't license it. Why don't you put Godiva chocolate in there? Like, okay, great. Or Ghirardelli chocolate. They don't own that. But they can own candy corn because it's generic. It's been around for like 100 years. But this idea actually works. Now, by the way, the people who raised their hands the most were actually in the back of the room. Marketing experts. As you look at the front of the room versus the back of the room, how would you differentiate those 2 kinds of customers? By what variable? 3-letter word, starts with A. Age. Right? Now, in marketing, you can profile. You're not minimizing anybody. You're segmenting them, right? Why does that generation like this idea better than your generation? Because it's a classic flavor from when they were kids. You will find the music you listen to, I kid you not, you wait 30 years, you have to come back and tell me, I'll be really old then, but hey, you write me a note, I'll still have the same email address. You're going to hear the music you're listening to right now. In 30 years, where will you hear it? In a grocery store, right? Maybe there won't even be grocery stores anymore. But you go in a grocery store right now, the music they play on the Muzak, in the background music in the grocery store, was the stuff we used to ride around with after high school and go like, yeah, that's awesome. Now you hear it in a grocery store and you're like, that sucks. It's grocery store music now. It's interesting because that's how the world cycles. The world cycles as a function of time. And so what was classic then, this product appeals to people that are your parents. Go ask your parents, hey, I saw this new product, candy corn Oreos. Do you think you'd like it? And I'll bet you, at least 60 or 70% of your parents will be like, yeah, I'd try it. See, the thing is, I can't get discouraged because you don't like it. I just have to find the person who does, and here's the economic thing. If there's enough of them and we can sell it at the right price, we go after that group. Remember your childhood. I don't try to, you're already still kind of there, so I wouldn't, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I'm going to show you 6 more. Let's see, you want to try some more flavors? Coming up right now for the holidays. Here we go. Candy corn. Here's the next one. Ice cream Oreos with rainbow sherbet. Now, first of all, I want you to recognize, what I want you to do is I want you to recognize the pattern of all these cookies. Notice there's 2 flavors here, right? Now the next one, notice there are 3 flavors there. Notice, kind of watch the product. But this one, rainbow sherbet flavored Oreos. Who likes this idea? There's always a couple. Why do you like this idea?
Just because I'm a fan of sherbet.
I like that. You love sherbet, but describe sherbet to me. If you close your eyes now and go, I'm eating sherbet. Describe what you're eating. What's it taste like? Sweet and sour and think. See, here's the thing. You guys do a lot of stuff and you have no awareness of what you're doing behavior-wise. Everybody who wants to be in product development or design, you got to look through the customer's eyes. Now, Myla, describe it. You're eating it. It feels like in your mouth. What's it feel like? It's cold. It's wet. It's sweet. It's sour. It melts, right? Will that do all that? It's what? Dry, warm, and frosty, and it doesn't melt. So is this a good idea? Like I said before, what's the technical term? Hell no. Okay, so we move on. Next one, strawberries and cream. Raise your hand if you think this is a good idea. I think I got you for almost any flavor over here. You seem to raise your hand for Albert. Why do you like this one?
Well, I like strawberries and cream, and TBH, I've done that before.
Right. So she goes, I like strawberries. Right? It's okay. That's how we find the problem is she likes strawberries and she'd like something that tastes like strawberries more often. So now we're going to get more strawberries. I love it. Okay, next one. Watermelon. Raise your hand if you think that's rather watermelon. This one people kind of like as a summertime thing, but it doesn't go over really well because watermelon, anything candy kind of tastes like what? I don't know, gross. That's a technical term. I love it. Next one, gingerbread. Ooh, now we're getting somewhere. See, marketing people, this is what we do. This is what we do, okay? Write down some notes. Gingerbread, number 1 so far. Okay, she's not going to write it down. Okay, next. She's just trying to get more points. Next one, strawberry milkshake. There you go, strawberries. Why do we have strawberries so much? Because just like you, there's a lot of people that love strawberries. By the way, number 1 flavor of ice cream is vanilla. What's the next best flavor? Chocolate. Then what's the next best flavor? Strawberry. Right? There's just certain rankings that always go. Here's the next one. Birthday cake Oreo. Raise your hand. Now this fascinates me. I hate this flavor personally. I hate it. But you've had these, right? Well, guess what? It's not about me. It's about all y'all, right? It's just about the way it works. But why is this so popular? And why do people like it? Yeah. Because what? Yeah, you have frosting on a cake. You have a memory of it. But also, what happens? Why does your mom like it? Because now, if you don't have time for frosting on a cake, I at least have birthday cake Oreos, and it feels like it. It solves 2 problems. One, like flavor you know, but now I can have a little bit of birthday cake anytime. Yes? Yep. But it turns out, it's not. Did you? Who's tried? Did you like them?
I didn't think they were too bad.
All right.
I mean, they weren't horrible, but they did taste.
I like that. They weren't horrible. That's a code word for they weren't really awesome, but they just weren't horrible.
They had the resemblance of a birthday.
See, it's the visual part of these little thingies here, the little sparkles, which if I were to tell you what that's made out of, I don't know if you'd like it anymore. It's made out of maltodextrin. It's made out of wheat starch. So it's made out. Anybody have a Play-Doh fun factory when you were a kid? So you make a dough in tiny little holes, and we actually push it through like a Play-Doh fun factory, and we bake those. A Play-Doh fun factory is actually how we make a lot of food. Cheetos are made in a Play-Doh fun factory machine. Okay, just on a big scale. It's pretty funny. Okay, last one. Here's my kicker. Bus driver, you're my main target, okay? You'll see why. You'll laugh. It'll be fun. Bacon cream. Anybody here think they'd like to have bacon cream? Turns out there is a part of the country where this is a huge idea. Any place that people like chicken and waffles, they like this flavor. There's a certain group of customers that if you don't like bacon, they don't trust you. What part of the country do you suppose this would be real popular in? Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama, Florida. This is a huge, huge, huge idea. But y'all are going, I hate it. Why do you hate it? Anybody here had caramel and salted caramel? Literally 10 years ago, did anybody have salted caramel? No, people thought that was ugly, horrible, and disgusting. Anybody ever had chocolate with hot pepper in chocolate? That was never done before. It's now become real popular. Sriracha type flavors in chocolates become really, really hot chocolate. Okay, hot cinnamon. A lot of this stuff is coming back. Okay, but this product was fascinating. We put it in the mix just to see what people would do. We wanted to make sure we could find something that everybody hated because we thought everybody would hate it. Turns out there's people who love it. All right. What we're going to do next, Doan, where's our next ingredients for our next exercise? They're here. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. It's about 15 minutes till lunchtime. We're going to be handing out some more ingredients for you to play, to make something. Now here's what we're going to do. Why don't you give me one of those? Give me one of those and we'll have some fun. I love, of course you can have these, you can eat these. And I didn't invent these. I did not invent these, but I enjoy having fun with them because my product is so popular, this product's going to die very soon. So we have to come up with something different. Oh, by the way, here's why Oreo came to me. Anybody seen this product out there yet? They're trying to copy my product. Okay, it's really hard to patent a cookie that you dunk because think about humans.
Can't you patent the design?
No, you can't because here's the thing. Humans dunk everything. French fries and ketchup. Celery sticks and ranch or peanut butter, right? Apple slices and donuts and ask any policeman. Donuts and coffee. See, now I had to put the right context, see? We dunk food. You can't patent that. If it's in patenting, as long as it's obvious, you can't patent it, okay? But Oreo is trying to steal my stuff, so that's life. You just gotta rock on. That's a good idea, but where'd it come from? Dunkaroos, right? It wasn't an original idea. Sometimes you know that the world is great when people copy your work. You're onto something. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Our last exercise, which we're going to do for prizes, and you're going to have somebody from your table is going to be the spokesperson because every table is going to present after lunch. Okay? This is a throwdown competition. Who's going to win again? Table 1 or table 9 is going to throw down. Okay? We got one person up here from table 3. Get them all on board with you, right? All right. So here's what we're going to do. What do you see here? What is this? Okay, here's what we're going to set up. Pringles is now out of business. We crushed them. But we have a warehouse full of 1 million of these little canisters. And we've got 2 sizes. We've got the big ones and we've got the short ones. Okay? Because these canisters no longer have chips in them, these are empty. They're nothing more than an ingredient. Your job is to reinvent what we could do with these canisters. Now, couple of rules. You can't put any food products in here. You can't say, well, put spaghetti in it and then cut the top and then I can, open the top and I can, get 1 serving or not. You can't put something simple like it's for my paintbrushes, it's for crayons, it's for pencils. None of the easy stuff because that's all been done. What I want you to do is to come up something really unique that you could do with these to solve a problem. Okay, so let's walk through it a little bit. I'll give you some ideas of some things that students do when they do this exercise. So the first thing you have to do with your team, and again, lunch will be here at 11:30. You're going to have lunch till noon, and while you're reading, I want you to work on this, and then after lunch at 12 o'clock, we'll start coming back, and we're going to pitch, okay? So you're going to have about 45 minutes to create an idea for the canisters. Now, we've been doing this for about 6 years here at this event, and we come up with some really cool stuff. Teachers, right? Your students have come up with some really cool stuff. But here's what you have to ask yourself. What are my ingredients to work with? Well, the cool part is this has a lid, right? And once you open it up, okay, it's got a top on it so you could seal something in there. That's kind of cool. This is a canister. It's got a tube. It's got aluminum foil in it. It's got a metal bottom. It could hold water. It could hold, as a matter of fact, this canister will hold 32 ounces of water. So that's something you could do. And you can add anything to this, or you can take it apart. This is just an ingredient. So you're going to try to use, now what I do with my students is I give them everyone 2 cans, and they walk around with it for like 2 days. And you try to figure out where this would solve a problem. So like, for example, if we had snow, what could kids do with this with snow? Make little snow bricks out of it, right? What's that? the possibilities are endless. I could put water in it and freeze it and throw it at you. I could make like ice snowballs with it, right? The thing is, it could do a lot of different things. Your job is to come up with something really clever. Now, you're going to work as a table, and one of the things you could do is maybe split the table into two, and 3 of you work on one, and 3 of you, and then get a couple of ideas and pitch them back and forth. But when we come back at 12, your job is to create an idea, give it a name, and by the way, in your name, do not use the word Pringles, because there aren't Pringles anymore. It's just a canister. It's just a thing, right? So it has a metal bottom, sealable top, plastic lid, and you can use multiple together, right? You can use them in many different ways. Now, here's one of the things you want to do to process this a little bit. You want to look at the characteristics of all these things. Like, what are they used for? Like, what can I do with them? What is it made out of, right? Because it's made out of recyclable cardboard, right? What can I do with that? Another thing it does is, what does this do? Like, I could use it as a shovel, right? I could use it as something to pour something out of. It can store something. I've had students that have literally taken these and made little rocket kits. They put like 2 or 3 together, and they put like a rocket motor in there with some fuel, and they put fins on it, a nose cone, and they've actually made rockets out of these things. They made rocket kits. That's pretty cool, right? There's lots of different things you can do with this if you just let your mind make new combinations and try to do it in a different way. And then also think about, what can you add to it? What could you bring that you could be part of it? I won't tell them what. One of the student groups did something with this that was great for outdoors in the backyard. So think about this. Think about, okay, in my favorite room in my house at home, what could I do with this? Like in the garage, or in your bedroom, or in your family room, right? If I had to have this at school, how could this help me solve a problem somewhere that you're familiar with, right? Look, if I'm having a birthday, how could I use this to have fun at a birthday? Well, I'll show you an idea here real soon how they did that with a birthday. Here it is. What they said is, at a birthday, you want to throw confetti around. But confetti comes in a bag, and it's not very fun. So what they did is they basically took this can, pressurized it with a spring-loaded bottom in it, and put the confetti in it, and they gave it a name. They called it a confetti cannon. Now you go to Party City, you buy one of these things, you peel up the top and say, "Happy birthday!" And now you have confetti everywhere. Cool idea, huh? That's actually a doable idea. They actually mocked this up, took it to the Party City store, and the Party City person went, "How can I buy this?" Right? That's how you know you got a good idea. So you have to kind of think. You got to look for a problem to solve where, okay, it's a birthday. And sometimes you don't have to know the problem, just articulate. Say, I love doing art. What could I do that I could solve a problem doing art? Like we talked about your hair. I love my hair. Well, what could I use this for to solve a problem with my hair? Just look at your world, look at your life, and say, what could I use this for that does what? Has utility and is novel, something that is different and something I can get value from, right? You have to say to yourself, what is the solution? What is the benefit of this idea? And then, who is the benefit for? Now, again, like I said, I give these to my students and make them walk around with them. So think about it. Just, talk to each other like, what's your favorite sport? What do you guys do? What are you into, right? Use this to solve a problem. Here's what one of my students did. They wanted to look, again, we talk about what's valuable. How many of you, when you were little, got a goldfish for a present, a birthday present? Like your parents gave you a goldfish, right? How did you get the goldfish home?
I left it in the bag, and I sat and protected it on the car.
Yeah, and I had a student who went, my dad made us sit in the back seat. He took the goldfish on the little baggie, put it on the front seat, and then we got to a stoplight, somebody cut him off, and he had to hit the brakes really hard. What happened to the goldfish? Rolled off onto the floor, broke the bag, and the goldfish died. And the kid's, he's like still scarred about this, 10 years later. So here's what he said. He said, I have to have a different experience. So he turned that memory into a really cool idea. He said, taking the fish home from the pet store can be really risky. And it's an emotional disaster when that happens, right? Turns out this thing will fit in a cup holder in your car. Perfectly fits. Anybody ever eaten Pringles in the front seat of their car? Ever watch your parents do it? It's like one of the ways that people eat this stuff. So his idea was, let's put this in in the cup holder. Let's take the bag with the goldfish. We'll put it in here. Of course, this won't be here anymore, but they're going to have their own printed design. We'll put the instructions for how much food to give them. In the bottom, we'll have another packet of food and other things they need to have. And because we can put 32 ounces of water, sometimes you have to have the right water conditioning. We'll have the right water from the pet store, and we'll have the fish carrier. Does that sound like a good idea to you? Yeah. That's really a good idea. As a matter of fact, I told the students, take this down to the local pet store and ask them if they would buy it. Now, at the time, I was teaching at Miami of Ohio, which is in Oxford, Ohio. They took it downtown Oxford, Ohio, and the guy goes, I want 1,000 of those right now. I love this idea. And they come back to class and go, we got an order. I'm like, well, I wanted you to go ask them if they liked it. I didn't think you were going to go sell it. And they said, we did. These canisters cost about 10 cents a piece, and they sold them each for $1. So now they got 90 cents times 1,000. How much is that? 90 cents times 1,000 is $900, right? And they went, can we get $900 stamped? Can we do this as a project? So we all got together as a class. We couldn't have, 1,000 canisters because you have to empty the chips out and they already got food in them. So we went to a little company called Uline that makes mailing tubes to mail stuff in. We got them and we made them. We sold them. We went back and said, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. It's going to be $1.25. I said, go see if you can renegotiate. Get $1.25 because we've got to get our labor in there. They did it. We ended up with $1,000 left over. And the 3 students in that class split that money and went on spring break with it. So you may think sounds like this is a little exercise, but it actually is a real way in which we invent stuff. We take things like this as stimulus and try to do different things. So look at your life and just kind of talk to each other and think about what you could use this for. Think about if you're into science. How could I use this in science? If I'm into art, if I'm into dance. Just look at your lives. There's plenty of places where a possible solution can solve a problem. All right? So spend a few moments with your friends. Now again, remember, here's the rule. You can't call it Pringles, and you can't put just another food product in it. And by the way, you can't do something simple like put tennis balls in it because we already have a tennis ball canister. Try to challenge yourself to come up with something that kind of go, aha, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, lunch will be here in about...
Ready. Are we ready? Let me know when you're ready. I'll announce lunch happening.
Okay, I was going to say, we have about 5 minutes before the lunch is happening. So talk for about, go get your lunches. Dona's going to release you for lunch, right? Is it ready?
I'll give instructions when you're ready.
Okay, in a second, I'm going to give the floor back to Doan. But get your lunch, come back, brainstorm. You got the idea? And we got some fun prizes. All right. And I personally will give a prize to the team that gets the best idea. Okay? We'll see what comes up. All right. You're literally going to get 30 seconds to pitch your idea. And you want to give it a name. But here's the 3 things you want to think about. They're going to look at these like, what's clever? Like, aha, like that's a clever idea. They're going to figure out, is it a real problem? And then what they're going to figure out, can it work? Right? So you're going to come up, whoever the pitch person is, and say, today, my team, table number 7, we created, ta-da. And here's what the problem is, and here's how we're going to do the solution. You get 30 seconds, not 5 minutes, to describe it. So think about how you're going to describe this in 30 seconds, pitch people, because your idea is to get the judges to go, oh, that's pretty clever. All right, we'll start pitching in about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Hey everybody, where's my judges? My 3 judges. Bus driver, come up. And my other 2 judges, come up here to the front. All right. Which team now thinks they're going to win? All right. So turn on the microphone. Okay, listen up, everybody. Here's how it's going to work. Give you one more chance to make sure you got all your stuff together. But when you come up, please announce. I'll announce the tables at random. I put them in a random order, so we'll pick them at random. You'll come up. You'll announce who you are as the speaker. And then you'll give your idea. Again, just try to be polite. Do like 30 seconds or so. Don't go on and on. But here's what you want to do. if your idea has like moving parts or has things that you have to describe it, don't just say it push a button and it just magically happens. Try to guard against magical thinking, okay? Because that kind of doesn't make it possible. Like it levitates without gravity. That's impossible, right? Unless, of course, you have superconducting magnets. I know what you're thinking. But the thing is, try to make it as real as possible and bring it to life. Our 3 judges are going to be looking for what we call the aha factor, like, aha, that's pretty clever. B, does it solve a real problem? So identify what problem you're trying to solve. And third, make it possible so that it seems like this is something that would really work. All right, judges, announce yourself. Who are you and where are you from?
Hi, I'm Andy. I am the grad assistant for the entrepreneurship department here.
So you're a student here at JCU?
Yes.
All right, next judge.
Hi, I'm Gabby. I'm the Associate Director of the Entrepreneurship Programs here at John Carroll, and I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
All right, Gabby kind of makes all this stuff work, right? That's awesome. All right.
I'm Jeff. I'm from Painesville City Schools. I do maintenance and I brought kids up.
And your name is Jeff too? All right, awesome. All right, so give it back to you. So when you come up, you'll take the microphone. Sorry. I get so excited, I can't wait to see what you're going to do. Okay, so if your table, when it's your turn, you come up here, take the microphone, and you can come out here, and you're going to pitch this idea to the judges. All right? Kind of got how that works? All right. First up, I love to always take lucky number 7, table number 7. Let's go up to the front. Give a big hand. And remember, the order does not matter. It's how awesome you are. Jacob.
Hello.
Okay, everybody, now listen. You're competing against each other. So Jacob, take it away.
All right. So our idea was to use the prison can as a safe box for things that you can lose easily. Like you have your daily things you need to use, like your inhaler or pills you need to use, and then or your phone. It has
Use the microphone so everybody can hear you.
It has a code. You put whatever you need to put in there. It opens up if you put in the right code, and you can grab whatever you need from in there.
And what do you call this thing?
A safety tube.
Safety tube. And what's the coolest thing you could put in it that would be really safe?
Your phone.
Your phone. All right, give it up for table 7 and the safety tube. Just hand it to them. Now, I love this idea because, again, it has a volume, it has utility, you put a locking mechanism on it. It's the safety tube. I love it. That's awesome. Yes?
How much time we got up there?
30 seconds.
30 seconds,
Okay? Take the time that you need, but you don't take 3 minutes, right? It's kind of I'm not going to put a timer on it. Okay. Next up, table number 12. Make sure you announce to everybody who you are.
Hi guys, my name is Michael, and I have the trash pack here today. It's a little mobile trash can, just in case there's no trash cans in the area. You load a little trash bag in the top, either a 5.5 ounce or a 2.5 ounce, depending on which can size you have. There's an auto release button on the bottom, which is activated by pushing a button right at the bottom. It moves the lock mechanism back so the bottom can swing open, and the bag will fall out right out the bottom. And then you can reload it from the top. The top is kind of like one of those hinge-based trash cans. You can see them, they're bigger, but we've made it a smaller scale. So it can go in, but it can't go out, so nothing can fall out the top.
And what's the name of it again?
The trash pack.
The trash pack. All right, I love it. Give them a big hand. See, now I love it when a pitch person is concise. They know exactly. Notice what he's doing. He's talking about the features. Has a bag, has a spring. It doesn't go in. It goes in but can't come out. He talks about the benefit, and then he talks about it's a superior outcome. He goes, hey, it's smaller. It can be put different places. You put the stuff in, it works like a trash pack. I love it. It's very simple, very elegant. Well done, table number 12. All right, next up, table number 3. Prime number 3. All right, look who's up next. Give him the microphone.
There you go. Hello, judges. It's Ethan Schmidt representing table 3 over there. So, judges, have you ever wished, while you're on a plane, that you could feed your pets from home, maybe? Well, with the Furry Feeder 9000.
What's it called?
The Furry Feeder 9000.
The Furry Feeder 9000.
You can stick all at the bottom, use the Bluetooth from your phone, Let some food drop out for your pets, and they're all ready to go. Manual feature, automatic feature. Also, you can have modifications at the top, varying depending on the food sizes. So if you ever need a furry feeder, you know where to get one.
All right. It's got an app too, I'll bet, too, right? Awesome job. Awesome job. That, my friends, is called a pitch. All right. Send your resumes to him. You'll be working for him someday. Table number 15. Is that an educator table and the teachers don't have an idea? Oh, there they are. 15. Okay.
So a very prevalent issue going on right now is the pandemic, obviously. And the masks that we use are usually disposable masks, like I'm wearing one right now. So an issue that's coming out of this is that there's a big environmental issue going on because masks are actually made out of plastic. And although it's not large pieces of plastic like a plastic bag, it's nanoplastics and microplastics. So our idea is to use the 2.3-ounce can and turn it into a mini UV sanitizer, and it would be called Sanitube. And the purpose of this would be to keep it in a cup holder in your car or in your purse. It's very small, portable, and it's easy to sanitize cloth masks, which would minimize the use of disposable masks and help the environment out a little bit more.
And you call it the Sanitube? Awesome. Give her a big hand. Good job, table 15. As a matter of fact, there is a company actually trying to do that for personal sanitization using UV light. That's an awesome idea, table 15. All right, let's go to some even numbers. Table number 4. Your lucky moment. You need the can. Or do you need a can? No.
Okay, hi, I'm Ava. And our table's idea, well, Austin's original idea, he would like everyone to know, is the scent stacker. And so basically what it is since we figured out that these canisters can fit into like cup holders into different car compartments, we would have different layers of like scent tablets inside of like sections as big as the lid, and they would each be vacuum sealed. And so when you want to release some scent into the car, you would open the vacuum seal and release the scent, and then on top there would be so like a communal lid that you can keep putting back on with different like openings determining how much scent you want to release into the car. And then once the scent is like you can't smell it anymore or it's not strong enough, you would push up the bottom to pop out that scent, and then a new vacuum seal section would pop up and you would unpeel that, releasing a new scent into your car. So.
All right, give it up for the scent stacker. That's a commercial idea. Pretty awesome. Love it. Table number 10. That was well done, Ava.
Hello, judges. Don't you hate it when you have a beverage and it's hot and it's not the right temperature? Yes. Well, I have a solution for you. Can. This is how it works. There's a metal wiring inside the can that connects to a pad that you can adjust the temperature on. So if you play a sport, or if you're just at work, you need a cold beverage, you can put it in here for 5 minutes and you keep your beverage to the right temperature. Or even on a cold day when you want to put some water in and make hot chocolate or tea, it's for all ages and it's all year round. You can use the temperature on the outside of the can to set the temperature for a hot tea or chocolate to make anything that you desire. Or a baby bottle.
There you go. All right, the temp can. Give him a hand. What's your name? What's that? All right, thank you, Reggie. Good job. Now, have you noticed we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all of these ideas are awesome and commercializable. And every one is a little bit different. Isn't it neat to see the same resources done in a very different way? I'm super stoked by this. Let's go to table number 5.
Okay, hello judges. My name is Surreal. So our product would be called the Continue Tape. So the issue is you buy tape dispenser or tape roll and it runs out in, whatever amount of time. The purpose of, or the solution would be the continue tape. So this has waves of tape on the inside that you can replace and refill, and obviously the exit point would be on the top and the side. So this lets you extend the life of your tape roll and you can replace it, so no matter what, you don't have to keep replacing and buying new tape rolls. And this would obviously make that a lot easier for most people who buy tape.
And can you have different colors and like 3 or 4 different colors and that kind of thing?
Not colors, but 2 different options. You can have regular tape or duct tape. Duct tape usually only comes in regular rolls.
Okay.
You don't have any other options.
All right. Give it up for Continue Tape. That is an awesome, very useful. I like simple but elegant ideas. I love it. All right. All right. Let's go back to the other side of the room. Table 13. Lucky 13. Judges are just trying to draw you closer to them.
Hi, I'm Sheree. Our idea is hideaway. It's like we're gonna use the components of the tube and make it so you can hide your keys. You know how you hide under a doormat? You just make it very secured and decorate how you like, and just make sure it's not like noticeable you're hiding your keys outside your house. Or you can use it to hide anything you want, like from your kids or anything like that. But yeah, go hideaway.
Because who's going to actually steal your Pringles can, right?
Exactly.
I love it. Give it away for the hideaway. I've actually seen students that have actually taken this idea to make a safe like that, where they've actually painted it the same as like the decor in a house, so you don't see it visually. So they actually map it so it looks like it's invisible, and they actually attach it to a part of their house where they could store something and no one will actually see it. Like the outside brick or something like that, just kind of make it camouflage, right? Pretty awesome. Love it. All right, let's go to table number 2. She's serious. She's taking her jacket off.
I'm Sujeen, and our table will present the wrap and roll, where we going to have like both sides of these eliminated and have like a where you can like pull it out. Like we put the paper out, so we pulled it out, so we could put all the ingredients, put the wrap on, and it's gonna pull it back in for you. And then there's gonna be air blowers and air blow up airs in it. So when you it's gonna help you pressure it and make sure it's stable. And when you unwrap it again, it's gonna be a good wrap, and you can start eating.
So it's a food wrap maker. So you actually you pull it out, you put your ingredients in it, and it pulls back in and wraps it like a burrito maker or a wrap maker. What do you call this thing?
Wrap and roll.
Wrap and roll. I love it. I like it. Some people have actually taken it and like used it to make as a rolling pin, but you pulling it out, putting the dough in it so that you can, or the paper so you can put it right there together. Love it. All right, group number 9.
My name is Isaiah Jackson, and I'm representing for group number 9. So, have you ever had the annoying occurrence where you ran out of shampoo, or you had to dig your hand at the bottom of a bottle of gel? Our product is the Twist and Go. So there is a threaded twister at the bottom of the canister, and a cap, a rolling thing on the cap, like a ball, like the ball roll deodorants, where you can twist it up, and the product goes up the canister and out of the other side of the roller. So it can conserve the uses of the product, it can give you the right amounts, and it can also save you money because it's a lot less usage of the product than you would in the bottle, and you don't have to dig your hand at the bottom.
So what kind of products do I put in it that I twist and go with?
You can put shampoos, you can put oils, and you can also put gels.
So it's a dispenser, a new kind of dispenser called the Twist and Go. Give it up for group 9. Awesome. It's always like, how do you get just the right amount without making a mess? Twist and Go. Next up, table number 1.
Hello.
Yep.
My name is Santino Casella, and I'm here with, we
thought of the Bugatron. It is a bug catcher, and it has holes in each side of it to where the bug goes in and the bug cannot come back out. And there is a sticky substance, syrup, in the bottom that the bugs are attracted to. And as soon as they touch them, they will get stuck. It will not come back out.
And what attracts the bugs to the can?
We have the syrup, and we have some Pringles in here. So they're going to want to get some Pringles, and they're going to be stuck.
All right, give it up for the Bugatron. The fancy technical term would be citronella. It's a little fragrant like thing that people use to attract mosquitoes and bugs and that kind of stuff. But you can hire a chemist to do that for you, right? No problem. Group number 14. You guys picking out your favorites so far? Yeah. If you couldn't vote for yourself, who would you pick?
Okay, so my name's Claire, and I'm representing table number 14. So our idea was the Carefree Kit, because we all know that we all forget little tiny things like hair ties, feminine products, toothbrush, toothpaste. We forget to brush our teeth at home. So it's easy to grab for on the go, and you can keep it in a glove compartment or your cup holder in a place like that, like in your car. And our Carefree Kit offers things like hair ties to toothbrushes, toothpaste, and it's multifunctional for people of all ages and all genders.
So it's like an emergency kit, but carefree. It's all the stuff you just need. I love it. Give a hand. Carefree Kit. Some good ideas here. I love it. All right, group number 8.
Hi, I'm Cameron Mingo, and I'm representing group number 8. So if you like to plant, or you just have any interest in agriculture and you own something at home, you may be interested in our product Drippy. Now, Drippy is a dispenser of water that, so you fill it with water and it is dispensed to your plant through tubes in the bottom. And the top of this would be used as a slider that is also timed. So whenever you need your plant to be watered, it can be watered the exact amount at the exact time you need it.
All right, I love this idea. The Drippy, right? Nice job. All right, next up, table 16. 16. Do they have a product? I think that's the top number, right? 16 that's the highest number we have. I think it's the highest number we have. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Judges, have you ever had an incident where you have some food and it's cold and you want to warm it up and you don't have a microwave? Well, here we're introducing the hot can. It's it's insulated inside with a heater, and you just shoot it up like this, and your food, whatever is in there, that heats up. It's all on the go, so no microwave.
All right, the hot can. It's called. Have you ever seen those heater meals kind of thing, right? Where you take a little packet, you break it, and you shake it up, and it causes it to heat up. What kind of foods would you put in there that would make it enticing? That the hot can would be perfect thing you could make. Soup, casseroles, chili.
Soup in there.
Yeah.
Even anything that you would want to heat up and eat on the go.
All right. Exactly, to the military. Awesome. Good job. Heat can, hot can. It's interesting. Have you noticed the theme of what kind of unites all these different ideas? Is the can becomes what? A delivery device. It's using something to deliver something else in a convenient way. It's sort of, this group is the common theme is it's delivering something. I love this. This has been really fun to watch. Next up, team number 11.
How's the judges doing?
Who are you?
My name is CJ Yarborough. I'm representing for table number 11. Have you guys ever been camping before? All right. Today I'm I'm pitching the Content Can tent. This right here is going to hold a tent where you can take with you on an emergency where you get stuck out somewhere, where you don't know where you are, or you're going camping, right? So you can put a tent in here that you can simply just take out and it blows up by itself. Kind of comes with an air pump, like how the popsicles or the ice creams are where you can push it up. That's how you kind of can push the tent up. The Content Can tent.
So the emergency tent in any situation.
There you go.
All right. I love the alliteration, content, can, tent. Say that 5 times really fast. All right. That was group number what? 11? That was group number 11, right? I got to move that down here because next is final group to perform for us this afternoon is group number 6. One person only. Everybody's trying to break. They want to be a rule breaker. I love it.
I'm not trying to, sir. It's just easier.
It's just, no, you are trying to. That's what you're supposed to do. I love it.
So I'm representing table number 6 over there, and we've come up with the coin hacker. So what our idea was based off of having a hole at the top for all coins. It'll be sectioned into 4 different sections, and whenever you insert the coin, it'll be able to go into its own section flat. So when it's flat, you can see when it gets full, it'll be easier to see whenever it's time to throw it into the second product, the coin roller. So whenever it's easier to take it to the bank, it's easier to throw it in and then take it out.
Because the paper things will be in the bottom section. So you put the coins in, stack them, you put enough in it, you shove them down, and it goes in the paper, and you roll them right up.
Yes, sir.
I love it. Give it up for the coin stacker, coin hacker. Hacker, I love it. All right. So let's review now, judges. Now start to think. What we're going to do is we're going to take a little break in just a second, but I want to review. Now, you can't cheer for your own team. Now, I'd like to hear kind of what you're thinking is, well, you can cheer for yourself, but I kind of want to hear what you think about these ideas. Let's review. Table number 1, the Bugatron, which is a device that captures the bugs, sticks them, and takes them away from those annoying places on your patio, backyard, or a picnic when you're trying to have fun. So table number 1 had the Bugatron. Give it up for the Bugatron, people! I know, you're like all the famous people at the Emmys, like, I'm not cheering for them. I like my song better. All right. Table number 2, the Wrap and Roll. It makes a wrap really super easy. You've got the wrap material in the can. You pull out the paper. You put your fixins in there. You roll it back up. Perfect wrap every time. The Wrap and Roll. Never have that fall apart wrap with the Wrap and Roll. Okay. Group number 3, the Furry Feeder 9000 with an app, Bluetooth, and wonderful wireless control so that when little Fluffy is all by herself, you can just tip your app and it feeds to Fluffy, and Fluffy is just really super happy. It's the Furry Feeder, the way to feed your animals when you're not at home. Ethan, I loved it, man. That clapping just wasn't doing it justice. All right. Okay, table number 4. The Scent Stacker, the simple way to change the scent in your car from cinnamon to new leather to who knows what, but it's a stacked set of tablets that you vacuum sealed each, that you open up the scents so you can deliver scents anywhere you want through the cup holder in your car. It's the Scent Stacker. All right. Table number 5 brought us the Continue Tape, the multi-tape dispenser in a roll. Keep all your tape in one place, because you know when you're a busy guy in the shop and you need your duct tape, you need to have a simple tape dispenser. You could probably put it in your tool belt, and you could have it certain places where you can have it easily at your disposal. It's the Continue Tape dispenser. Give it up for table number 5. Then table number 6, we just heard from them, the Coin Hacker. It's a double-stage canister where you put your coins in the top, all your spare change. It arranges them really nice and flat, puts them all in order by pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and whatever have you. Not foreign coins, just American coins. And then once you get it full, you put it down below into the coin roller, and it puts them into packages so you can take them to the bank. That's the Coin Hacker. Give them a big hand. Next up was Jordan and table number 7 with the safe box code lock that the safe box, which is a tube that has a code lock mechanism, so you can put all your stuff in it that you want to keep safely so that you can keep track of it and you can get at it with your own special code so no one walks off with your stuff. It's the safe box. Give it up for table 7. I like how people are just being polite now and just clapping because I say clap. I like that. All right. Table number 8 was Cameron with Drippy. This is really an interesting idea where you have a dispenser for to water your plants. You hang it up above your plants, and then of course you pull the string, and out comes the right amount of water that dispenses a nice little shower for your plants, keeps them nice and hydrated. It's the Drippy. Give them a big hand for table 8. Then we had Isaiah on table 9 with Twist and Go, the unique delivery system that takes any unmanageable liquid that you want to get just the right amount with the Twist and Go top, little ball at the top, little twisting mechanism, and you can meter out just exactly the right amount of your shampoo, conditioner, or whatever it is you're trying to get out of the Twist and Go. Reusable and used by people all over the wonderful U.S. Give it up for team number 9, the Twist and Go. Team 10 was the temp can. This is when you need to have something chill out or warm up, and just 5 minutes you put your product inside there. You have your hot dog you want to reheat, your macaroni and cheese from yesterday. You put it all in there, turn it on, and in 5 minutes you have back up the temperature, perfect eating temperature all the time, or the baby bottle heater. Love it. The temp can from table 10. Table 11, C.J. Yarborough. That's like the coolest name. It could be like that's already like marketable. Just the name alone, you could be like an author or something. C.J. Yarborough, that's a great name. So C.J. presented the Content Can Tent. I'm gonna say it nice and slow. It's the emergency tent for all your needs. But here's the thing: is it one-time use? How do you get it back in the tent? The tent back in the can? Just one time? So I've got the tent can. I have the tent. My emergency's over. I want to put the tent back in the can. Okay, Shug just roll like you idiot. Just roll it up, put it back in the can. Okay, it's the Content Can Tent, the emergency tent for all your needs. Give it up for table 11. Table 12. The trash pack, a unique way to have a small size trash bin that's got a top that you put the product in or whatever you're going to throw away out below the bottom and where the different trash bags are attached to it. It's the unique way to be able to throw away your things in a solid container where their trash can is the one-stop shop. Give it up for the trash pack, everybody. Table 12. Then table 13, the clever hideaway. This is not just a simple safe. This is a simple safe that you customize to blend into the surroundings of your home so that no one knows that your keys and other valuables are outside your house waiting for you and not someone else. Don't share your valuables. Hide them away with the hideaway. Give them a big hand, table 13. Table 14, the Carefree Kit. For those times when you forget anything that may be on your mind, toothbrush, floss, Q-tips, all those things that we need to have, but we don't have, when a safe kit where you can get them at the CVS, the Walgreens, wherever you buy all of your personal products, buy now the Carefree Kit, your one-stop shop for everything you need. Give it up for table 14. Table 15 is the Sanitube, right? It's just plain old Sanitube, right? The Sanitube is a mini UV sanitizer to take your masks and other things that you want to make sure are COVID-free. Has a little UV light inside, little LED UV light. Turn it on, sanitize it for 10 minutes, and off you go. You can revitalize your UV masks. Don't have to throw them away. Save on recycling and have a fresh new mask every time. Give it up for the Sanitube. Yeah, 12, oh my gosh, he added a 12-volt feature so you can put it in the cigarette lighter in your car and you can use it right in your car. Talk to him later after class. He'll sell it to you for only $1 million. All right. Then last but not least, table 16 and Alyssa with the hot can. It's a heater can when you don't have a microwave and you want to heat up your soups, your chili, your macaroni and cheese, whatever your comfort food is, and you need to heat it just right when you don't have a microwave, you're on the go, put in a little thing that plugs into your cigarette lighter. Cigarette lighter theme could work in a lot of these cases, but for everyone, it's the hot can. Give it up for the hot can. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a little 10-minute break. We're going to let the judges convene and talk about amongst themselves which ideas they have. But you can either go do a bio break, have a drink, whatever. Hang on one second. What do we need to do? Oh, yes.
I'm going to make an announcement.
Gabby's going to make an announcement.
There's been a drawing, and Cameron McCladen, sorry if I said your last name wrong, and Hakeem, oh man, I can't say this last name. Hakeem, you guys both have won a free item from the John Carroll bookstore. So stay after, and I will take it down.
All right. And also, hang on one second. Go ahead.
Congratulations.
And Brand? Hey, everybody. This is Brand from the Veal Foundation.
One more announcement. Thank you for being here this afternoon. On the middle of your tables, we have a flyer for a hackathon that we're hosting at Cleveland State University in February. Students register directly for that. So if you're interested, please check that out. There's also a QR code on that, and you can find more information.
And let's give Brent a big hand because his foundation sponsored this wonderful event.
We should sing happy birthday.
Oh, and by the way, we should all sing happy birthday to the birthday girl. Shall we do that together? Let's do it. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear birthday girl. Happy birthday to you. Now, because it's her birthday, wouldn't it be really awesome because you're here on your birthday? Wouldn't it be neat if everybody just gave you a present? Would you like a present for your birthday? Would a birthday present make you smile? How about $50 from everybody? It's a happy birthday from all of us. Give her a big hand for her birthday. All right, take your 10-minute break. We'll be back. Hey, I love the enthusiasm. But I'm an inventor. I've got a lot to give away these days. Okay, so here's the fun part. What was it like inventing? Was this fun to do? Yeah. This is like awesome. Way to go, Austin. You get 1,000,000 free points too. What went through your heads when you heard you had to create something? Now notice, this morning when you got up, you didn't know you were going to create a brand new word. You didn't know you were going to create a solution to a problem. And you didn't know you were going to meet 5 new friends at your table. So to me, this is really a lot of fun because the minute you create something new, you actually tell yourself you can accomplish something. And as an inventor, I will tell you, a lot of people will doubt you. A lot of people will tell you you don't know what you're talking about. But when you get other people to like your ideas and they buy them, that's the best satisfaction in the whole world when you can go, yeah, I sold $230 million worth of chips last year, y'all. You know, it's kind of a mic drop moment, right? So the fun part about this is the celebration of your creativity, and I really appreciate it. So let's go. The judges have conferred, and we're going to have 3, 2, 1. And the cool part about it is that the Muldoon Center is going to give gift certificates to the winning teams, 3, 2, 1, at different denominations. You're going to get an Amazon gift card. So make sure you see Gabby in the back of the room so you know which table you're from, so she can, and your email address so that she can get you your gift cards. All right? You've already got $50. You're already golden. All right. So I know what day? Like a week later.
9 days.
I know, it's terrible. All right, so here we go. The judges have spoken. In third place, by the way, if you're keeping track at home, the total, if you take the 3 tables and add their numbers together, the total is 26. So you figure out combinations of 3 numbers to get to 26. Maybe you're a winner. Everybody goes, we're table 1, of course we could. Okay, it's a funny way to do it, but there's lots of ways to get to 26. Okay, in third place, with the wonderful idea, table 8 and the Drippy. Okay, somebody from the table, give us a little rundown. How did this idea come up, and how did it all pull together? Where's table 8? I just came over because you guys were cheering so well over here. All right. How'd this idea come on? Tell everybody the story. Stand up.
Well,
go ahead.
Okay.
My name's Dave.
And by the way, you all had never met each other before you did this, right?
Well, David, he came up with an idea. He said, okay, let's do type of irrigation type of system with the tube of the Pringles jar. And we kind of just went off of that. All of us like kind of pitched in our own little ideas from it. Just like, okay, so how do we do this? How do we stop the water from going into the plant once it's done? How do we get the water in? How much water should
Notice, what are they doing? They're asking questions, right? They're asking questions, and that's the best way to create, asking questions, yeah. And how did you come up with the name Drippy?
Oh, I just said it. I was just like, because, you know, the water would drip down from the tube, so I'm like, Drippy.
Yeah.
And then they were like, I like that.
By the way, everybody know what the little product in a can called SpaghettiOs is, right? No one eats them anymore. I know, they're nasty. I didn't invent it, right? But here's the funny story about the name SpaghettiOs. The guy who had the advertising job to come up with the advertising jingle, they didn't know it, Chef Boyardee, they didn't know what to call it. And literally, his little 5-year-old daughter walks in and he goes, "Oh, Dad, they're little SpaghettiOs." And the guy goes, "There's the name." Right? Sometimes you just got to blurt it out and it just sounds right. Give yourself a big hand. All right, table 8. And remember, when you're done, you got to go see Gabby, get all your names, and get the email addresses. All right. Number 2, with a very clever idea that is very trendy for today's modern age, table 15 and the Santa Tube. They're like, we're so close to number 1. We got number 2. Somebody tell me the story. How'd this come up?
Okay, so the first thing we thought of was like a trash bin for the car. We were like, that already kind of...
A trash bag for the car.
A trash bin, like you could put it in your cup holder, but we were like, that kind of already exists, so we came up with maybe like a soap dispenser, some kind of a dispenser.
Notice they're traveling around looking at different ideas, trying to figure out how to solve a problem. Yeah.
So then we thought of like a disposable mask dispenser. Well, then we were thinking, well, what about the environmental issue of that disposable masks are made out of plastic? So we were like, what if we made a UV sanitizer in a little Pringles can that could be...
Who had the UV in their brain? That's a pretty good idea. Yeah.
I think all of us kind of thought of it.
Thought of it.
I think it was like you need a way to sanitize it. UV sanitizers already exist, but turning it into a mini UV sanitizer is
Right.
really convenient, and it can be plugged into the...
Now, if you're saying to yourself, hey, I already saw this thing on Amazon, remember, what do entrepreneurs do? They take resources into unique combinations and recombine them in a new way. So just because a UV light exists doesn't mean they can't use it. I said you could add anything to the can and you create something really unique. I love the fact that they weren't afraid to keep poking around and adding new things. Well done. Way to stick with it. Nice resiliency. I love it. Give yourselves a big hand. Come on, clap for yourself. Table 15. All right. That means we're down to the final table, the table that takes it all, who will get the big gift certificates. I have no idea how much they are. But the best idea, drum roll please. Table 3 and the furry feet are 9,000! All right. I need to hear the history lesson as to where this idea came from. Dolan, let's have the counterpoint by Dolan, and then we'll let Ethan have his words.
Well, Ethan originally thought of like something to feed a hamster while it's running on the wheel.
Oh.
And then, Lily added to it and thought of like feeding your pets when you're not home. And then
look at that. I like that. He has a problem in his head. He starts to talk about it, and it sparks another idea. We call that bridging. You take one idea, you add another, and sparks fly, and all of a sudden the combo becomes really hot. Ethan, tell everybody. Thank you, all my fans. I want to thank my parents, my mom.
So yeah, just like he said, I had that amazing hamster idea, and
He's not shy. Anybody know Ethan really well? Who's Ethan's friends out here? Is Ethan shy? No. All right. Okay.
Yeah, and then Lily had that great idea, and we all talked about it, and we just kept adding on, getting some more ideas, and started talking about airplanes, started talking about at home.
And notice, that's just fine. Just wander. Let the conversation wander, because in that stimulus, there are more answers to every problem, right? Because my whole goal here is to teach you, don't underestimate the value of asking a question. It's not confrontational, it's opening. Ethan, stand up here a second, my friend. Now, one of the things that strikes me about Ethan is he's a great spokesperson. And I always like to reward the people who, come up here, stand up in front of all your friends. I always want to reward those people who take risk and are willing to put themselves out there for their friends. So Ethan, I'm going to give you the Best Pitch Award. Here's $50. Now here's the thing, my friend. Here's the thing. You got to be honest with me. Lily gave you the little spark that made this thing whole work. You know what Venmo is, don't you? You find out a way to get her $10 of your $50.
Okay, you got Cash App?
We're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. There you go. Give him $50 for being a great pitch person. Give me that microphone back. Yeah, he wants to keep the microphone as a present. Yeah, no, I'm not 50 cents. I'm $50. Okay. All right. One of the things that I'd like to share with you real quick before we go is, again, this exercise is a ton of fun because, again, whatever you come up with, these are some ideas that students in my class have come up with. One of the things like the tent idea was really cool. People have done camping, so they've taken like fishing kit. So you have all the stuff in there so you can go fishing with it, like ice fishing or something like that. One of my favorite one is I had a group of women in my class who came up with, when they travel on their sports team, they're out on the road going to sports events, they have to like get ready and then they have to like go really fast. Well, the curling iron gets hot and they have to put it in their suitcase when it's hot. And they said, well, the inside's got aluminum foil in it. It's perfect. I could put my curling iron in it and store my curling iron. You know, just really simple, elegant ideas that can happen really fast. I've had a lot of students try to do water purification while they're camping seems to be like a popular thing to take this can with. I've had students that have done everything like when you're out walking with your dog and you have to have that little blue bag, and then they take that little blue bag on the dog's collar or on their leash, and it's kind of the walk of shame. Now I'm a dog with my poop hanging on, right? So they said is, why don't you make a belt and have the canisters on a belt so you can take those little blue bags and put them in the canisters with scent so it keeps it from smelling, right? There's hundreds of ideas for what that canister could be used for. One of my favorites remember I told you about the students who created the confetti cannon, right? They loved the idea, but they couldn't make it work because in the class, they actually have to go make the prototype. You asked about that earlier. Could we make something with it? Well, I actually have them carry this darn thing around for a couple of weeks, and they have to really work hard at doing something because they know in my class, if you got a great idea and you want to go do it, I'm your first investor. I like to pull 50s out of my back pocket like they're just for funsies, right? Because the thing is, if you have a great idea, you need to take some pride and say, Ethan, go do something valuable with that, right? Help somebody else out because, again, you want to pass it along when people have great ideas. So here's what they did. They said, well, if the confetti thing doesn't work, where else could we solve a problem? And one of the students said, well, you know, we love piñatas in our family. Culturally, piñatas are a big part of our family culture. But there's one problem with the piñata, and that is if you have little kids, you don't want to give a little kid a stick, blindfold them, and just have them start swinging around because they're just kind of wild. So they want to have a piñata that kids under 10 can use without hurting each other. So what they did is they turned the can upside down, put a handle on it, packed it full of candy and confetti so they could actually blindfold the child, spin them around, but they have to find the handle, and then when they pull it, it just brings all the candy down. So it's a very safe, easy piñata. Now you're thinking to yourself, does that work? Well, the students actually worked on it. Actually, they made it work really nicely. Took it to a Party City, and they showed it to the owner of the Party City store, and the Party City person said, is this real? And the students, of course, they were like Ethan. They're like, yeah, of course, I could sell you a few of those. So they walked in, sold this idea, and they got an order for 10,000 of these. And so what we had to do is we had to figure out how to find somebody who could make these for us. And so we found somebody in Cincinnati, Ohio, who could put these together. And we actually went back to them. Now, they ended up not following through with it because we had to worry about safety and the candy and all this kind of stuff. So the idea was a little bit more complicated. But they actually demonstrated that a simple idea that they created in a little exercise like this is actually very possible. So I want to celebrate with you and recognize that your creative ideas are actually quite commercial. The Santa Tube idea is really a good idea. You could really commercialize that. The furry feeder, that's not a wacky idea. You could actually go do that. And the drippy, where's the team that did the drippy? That's just an elegant, simple little solution to something that's very unique. And each of you did that where you actually said, what could this tube do? Now here's the fun part about this exercise. If you take the word sheet home and keep playing with it, you'll come up with an idea you really like. If you take the canister idea and put it in your head, you'll be walking around in like 3 days, you'll be like, oh, I could use it for this. It'll be the perfect idea that will show up. Sometimes that's just what happens, and you have to be alert to that. If you ask enough questions, your brain is always open and alive and willing to look at things. As a matter of fact, in any class that you're taking, if you get stuck, anybody ever get writer's block when you're trying to write a paper? Well, the reason you get writer's block is because you're trying to pull the ideas out of your head. Ask some questions. Ask the question, what would that person do? Whoever you're writing about, or what would be that situation? How does that make me feel? What could have happened if it went this way? What would happen if it was completely the opposite way, right? You can explore the world by simply asking better questions. So again, You have to be ready to do these things. So today, what we really did is you have to recognize there isn't just one answer for every question. There's lots of answers because the answer to every question is, it depends, right? Because what's the number one thing that gets in the way of your creativity? Your memory. And if you let your memory dictate what you're going to do, what you're looking for is not one answer. You're looking for a bunch of possible choices. It went from where you started, you got a great idea, you added them together by asking, I like it, could this be this? Well, of course it can be this if we figure out how to make it work. Because at the end of the day, if you don't like something in this world, don't complain about it. Change it, right? But if you can't change it, change the way you think about it. That's the key part, is if you change the way you think about it, ask different questions, just go a different direction. Forget about the constraints that other people put on you. When I did my TED Talk, it was really fun. Doan had me come to do a TED Talk for him. And one of the fun little memes that came out of the TED Talk is, the key to being creative isn't about how much you know. It isn't about being the smartest person. It's about who can forget the most in order to make new combinations. Because entrepreneurs do this all the time. Take one thing, take another thing, put it together, make something new. And that really is the goal. So you now are all bold thinkers. In my world, you're really bold thinkers, because a bold thinker is someone who has the ability to convert ideas into opportunities that create value for others. Congratulate yourselves. Give yourself a big hand. I hope you have a great day. Be safe out there, Ohio. And don't go do great things. I'll stick around. I'll answer some questions. But our program is done. Was this fun? All right, awesome. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Way to go. 522.